original sports station. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5 FM. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Scott, Sportsworthy, and Ryan Davis.
Welcome into Sports Time, a Friday edition. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. Landon Schmidt producing. We're with you for the next 3 hours and a ton to get into today. We got to talk NBA playoffs. We've got to talk some baseball. We've got to talk the horses with the Kentucky Derby. But we also got to talk big news. Grizzlies have named Tomas Isolo their head coach. Greg Popovich has announced he will no longer be the head coach for the Spurs. It sounds like another team out of the running for P.J. Haggerty. A lot of news out there regarding the city of Memphis. So plenty to get into this afternoon. But Brett, how are you today?
Brian, I'm doing well. Kind of the alpha and omega of NBA coaching news today.
Man.
Greg Popovich, the longest tenured coach in the NBA, hired in 96 or 97.
I
mean, how many coaches are out there in anything that were hired in the 90s and still with the same team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say zero.
December 10th, 1996. Maybe Kirk Ferentz at Iowa.
Maybe. Yeah, you know, if there is one
Izzo.
out there, then that would certainly be it. But at least on the professional scene, there's nobody coming close to what Pop did with San Antonio.
And in Memphis, little did we know that over the course of I'd have to go back and look and find the press releases on exactly the day of the coaching staff changes. Let's just for jolly say it was June 15th, before the draft last year. From June 15th to today, you know who the joke's been on?
Who's that?
All of us and Taylor Jenkins.
Yeah.
Because he was as good as the head coach as the day they hired him and brought him from European basketball to Memphis. And the joke's really been on us since with 9 games to play in the season, they fired Taylor Jenkins. They could not have Taylor Jenkins have anything resembling a rally effect.
No.
If he closed, I don't think he was going to. They didn't think he was going to. That's why it was much easier. And you just wonder now if there wasn't some tank effect going on even before that. Maybe like that March 1st game that they wanted to be down there playing the 1 seed. That they didn't want any other seed other than 8. How much do they really want to be in can even be doubted. I know what they'll tell you, but I also know they'll tell you about anything because they told us just 5 days ago that it was going to be a search. Well, that was quick.
Yeah, very quick, you know. And I
walk down the hall. Anybody want the job?
Anybody want it?
Anybody here?
Yeah. I don't have
Anybody want the job?
I don't have the quote in front of me, but I do remember.
And one guy said, "Why not?"
Sure, I'll take it. You know, how about I give it a stab? No, but I don't remember the exact quote, but I do remember somebody asking the question to Zach Kleiman during the exit interview of, how long of a process this is going to take, what is the timeline? And he kind of said, he kind of mocked the question and said, well, first round of the NBA playoffs are still going on, Well, let's wait for that to get done. Let's see, what the prospects are out there. And, first rounds aren't even done yet. And you've already named, I'm seeing reports out there that no formal interviews were conducted by the Grizzlies. Evan Sideri, who covers the NBA for Forbes, he tweeted this out when it was announced by Shams Charania earlier. The Grizzlies did not conduct a single external interview for their head coach vacancy before removing the interim tag off Tomas Isolo. After the shocking firing last month of Taylor Jenkins, many assumed Isolo would eventually be the long-term answer. So at least to that report, no external interview done at all for this job. So absolutely zero coaching search done out there.
Interesting word you use with mockery because two of one of the consistent kind of standards of Wexler and Kleiman has either been a lack of transparency or a little bit of mockery. They're really good. They're really proficient at that. That's all but been their lasting calling card. They're about out of moves to make, though.
Yeah.
Because it will happen fast. You just tap your heels together almost, and a year from now we'll get here, and we will just see exactly what they have done.
Yep.
We'll see what the team looks like, the composition of it. We'll go through all the fits and starts of the year and the highs and lows and injuries and whatever, but we'll get to a point that you get judged, that you get graded, and you get judged and you get graded by the most important people out there, the ticket buying public.
That's right. No, you're exactly right about that. And so, I mean, like you said, there's still a lot to do with this offseason, a lot of questions that still need to be answered, but at least we now know who the head coach will be. So that's at least one domino out of the way. And you know, I think gives you a better idea of what this roster could look like going into next season.
Yeah, there was no search, and I know some are already defending that the players were for this. What do you expect them to say last Saturday in the ruins of a sweep and games that you lost by 51 and blew a 29-point lead in, lost a heartbreaker last Saturday? I understand that. I was there. I know. Nobody needs to tell me. What do you expect them to say when they ask, well, what do you think of Isolo? Then on Sunday, with a little time to sleep and think about it, probably be coached up a little bit by media relations. Of look, this is coming. Be ready for it. And who's to say or not say? Somebody prove me wrong if you think I'm wrong about this. Look, go out there and kind of say the compliant, obliging thing. He's being considered, and if we get him hired, we don't want the screaming, kind of headline of fill in the blank player said, why are we hiring this rookie? Nothing.
Right. Yeah. And I wouldn't put that past any team that makes a new coaching or has that interim that turns into the head coach. I'll tell you one guy that I think you could point to that really probably liked Coach Isolo and maybe gives you an idea of who may be on this roster next year. John Morant certainly liked him and I think was genuine when he said he thought he was a good coach, because we knew when the kind of Taylor Jenkins thing was happening, there were reports out there John Morant wanted to play more pick and roll ball. He wanted more of that working with Zach Edey, and Isolo comes in immediately does that. So I would say John Morant probably likes this hire. That's for sure.
I would say that too, and I know many people are saying that probably is an important thing when the face of your franchise, your star player, not superstar, but your star player, the head of your medium-sized three, not big three, that you should have some consideration for what that player thinks, especially if he's truly superstar and truly face the franchise and truly head of a big three and truly consistent on and off the court in his every action. What has Ja exactly accomplished to determine who should be or shouldn't be the head coach?
Well, and I'm not saying he had any input on that, but I do think that this tells you maybe Zach Kleiman's looking at it and saying, John Morant is going to be a part of our roster going forward. Zach Edey's going to be a part of our roster going forward. And this is a guy that, his play style is really tailored to what those two guys do really well. I have no idea if John Morant had any input or not, or if he should or should not. But, I do think that him being on the roster went into, the decision to hire Isolo, I'm sure.
I don't think any of the medium-sized three should have enough capital with any of the decision makers to walk in any office and go, you hire this guy.
Yeah, I think there's very few players in any sport that I think really should have.
I don't know that we've ever had one.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like I said, I think in the NBA, LeBron, Jokic, Steph, if that ever happened, I think there are a handful of guys, but it's not, every team doesn't have one. That's for sure.
Right.
I think
Jalen Brunson getting there?
Elite. Brunson could be getting close.
But go a little further in the playoffs before you start demanding a whole lot.
Yeah, I think it's probably, my two hands, I think, my 10 fingers could probably count the amount of guys in the NBA that I think, should have that luxury. It's not many.
Most everybody else that was quoted from it on Sunday, well, if Ja doesn't have that standing, And I think we agree that he doesn't like most in the league,
Sure.
wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Well, then they sure don't.
Exactly. So, I mean, like you said, I would not be surprised at all if a couple of these guys, it was, hey, just go in there.
Why would we be listening to Ja on anything?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? It's just, I think personally, and we've talked about this a lot, I think this decision was made when they brought him in as an assistant coach.
No doubt.
Last offseason.
And cemented.
You're going to be the guy.
With 9 games to go.
Exactly. So I think this has been, the decision has been made for a while. Give it some time before we officially announce it. And then now we get that news today.
Because except for, and yielding to, and crediting, I want to credit, it did look like a little unlocked with Ja and Edie
Sure.
and that pick and roll game, that it was a little bit better
Sure.
than it had been all year.
Mm-hmm.
Bryant, how many guests have we had on in the last week, in the last 2 weeks, that I've asked specifically, give me that calling card.
Yeah.
Give me something that he really showed. Because I can give you this. I can give you just that scrambled eggs defense
Sure.
they played really in all 4 games against Oklahoma City. And I can give you Santi Aldama still holding the ball and not getting a play called.
Yeah.
A play operated.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's the thing is we just haven't seen enough with him, and so it's really hard.
So
to know
next
what
year's
you're
going to be
getting.
his testing ground.
Exactly.
I'm questioning you, and I'm
Yeah,
meaning
no.
it rhetorically. I'm not meaning
absolutely.
it vituperative toward you whatsoever.
Absolutely, but no, I think that's exactly right. Because I think that's the thing. If you go to anybody in the front office, anybody with decision making, and you ask these questions, they're going to give you the exact same thing that they said at the exit interviews, that Islo said at his exit interview after the game of, 9 games, of the regular season, the games in the play-in, the games in the, whatever the quote was, where we had 15 games, it was 28 days, and only 2 practices, or whatever that quote was. You can't install anything in that amount of time. You can't change anything in that amount of time. So, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt with that. I'll say that's fine. I understand. But next year, we've got to see those changes. You got to see this whole offseason going into next year. I need to see improvements there.
Now, one of the comebacks to that is they didn't pluck him off the Briarcrest staff.
Yeah. No, that's
He'd been sitting there since
Sure.
we agreed June
Sure.
15th.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you, Brett. And that's why I think we're going to see. If you're saying that, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt right now. But come November, if we're still talking about, hey, we've seen
So the
15
defenders of Islo, they're getting ready to get in lockstep. Everybody's getting ready to get on the same page.
Sure.
Go Grizz go, and lockstep. So the
course.
defenders, all the bad was Taylor Jenkins.
Exactly.
Any little shred of good was big time Tommy Islo.
Exactly. Yeah.
And again, another Grizzlies coaching hire, since they so want to celebrate that, going back to that 30 years of Vancouver. They left Vancouver because it was a royal flop.
Yeah.
Let's move on from the gear, the court, the ceremony, the circumstances, and move on from the ABA.
Yep.
I'm the last human alive that thought the ABA mattered. Please move on from it.
You know what, Brett? We've got 2 hours and 45 minutes left. That is the truest thing you're going to say today. You are absolutely the last one that
Nobody cares about the St. Louis Spirits and Fly Williams and Rick Mount. Nobody.
No
more
you.
than people care that Scott Strickland's father-in-law is Bailey Howell.
That's right.
Nobody cares. So few even know about it.
That's right.
But why in over all the years, Vancouver and in Memphis, every coaching hire, you line up all our coaches, and it looks like the cast from the Lilliputians. It's the biggest bunch of littles ever. How come one time we can't have the needle just get prepared to move?
Sure, yeah. Well, and I think that's another thing
I mean, what's next? Josh Pastner?
Well, hey, be careful, Brett. Be careful what you wish for.
I mean, with Brian Gregory floating around out there, it's not dumber.
About that, Brett, when I saw that, yesterday. Just to get off topic a little bit. When I saw that yesterday, I had to look at my phone probably 6 times, going, "Is this the same Brian Gregory that I know?" And
he was about the only guy that could beat that Josh could beat.
Well, that is true. Those were some bad USF teams under Brian Gregory, but yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing for me, because I felt like Islo was going to be the guy, but just even if you got to fake it, like, let's let this go out a little bit longer and at least make it seem like you did some coaching search. You know, you've got all these coaches out there. We talked about it either earlier this week or last week about some of the guys that are just sitting around out there waiting for a coaching job in the NBA. Just you know, fake it if you have to, and make us think that you're interviewing Mike Malone and some of these other guys that are sitting around.
Brown.
But Mike Brown, you know, but
and the gift of on the day that the pop news really dominates.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing is, you know, that pop news comes out. Well, then that covers everything. You know.
You know who's coaching seniority now in the NBA? Eric Spoelstra.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Eric Spoelstra 1, Steve Kerr 2, Tom Thibodeau 3, Taylor Jenkins, if he had held on to his job, would have been 3rd.
Holy cow. Wow.
Tom Thibodeau 4, Billy Donovan 5, Tyronn Lue 6. The only coaching vacancy we're really waiting on Denver, aren't we?
Denver, yeah.
That's about it.
That's right.
And if anything else were to break, if Thibodeau got beat 4-0 by 40 a game.
Yeah, something like that.
That saved him last night.
Oh yeah. Last night, that game was crazy. But yeah, I think that saved him. I think getting to the second round certainly keeps you as the guy. I hope, at least. We'll see. But we got plenty to talk about with all the Grizzly news, but also just the NBA playoff news with those games last night, the game tonight. Plenty to talk about over these next 3 hours. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Alan Bell from Driving the Line. He'll join us. We'll talk wagering with him. We'll get his thoughts on the NBA game tonight, baseball, even get some Derby picks from him as well. We'll do that in our next segment. 3:45, we'll talk some Major League Baseball in general, really, but some good series getting started, some good SEC series. One that got started last night and a lot that gets started tonight. 4 o'clock, Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider and CBS Sports. He'll join us. We'll talk more wagering with him. 4:30, we'll talk the NBA playoffs. We'll break down both games from last night. Knicks, they beat the Pistons 116-113 to secure that series win 4-2. And then the late game, the Clippers beat the Nuggets at home 111-105 to send that to Game 7. Tonight, we've got another game on ESPN, 8 o'clock, Rockets at Warriors, Game 6 of that series with Golden State currently leading 3-2. We'll talk about all those games at 4:30. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Dick Girardi from betonline.ag will join us, our racing reporter when it comes to all things Derby. Kentucky Derby, it kicks off tomorrow. We'll talk a lot of horses with him. Then we'll make our picks, our win, play, show, and fourth. Hope you are all prepared. I think, Brett, I don't think I've ever felt as good as I feel about my group of stallions right now. I don't know if they're stallions, but I know stallions are horses. So that's at least
I've never felt worse.
Well, I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about my group right now. But, you know, I've had a lot of confidence. Not much to show for it with picks to start this year, where, you know, now in the month of May, I've not been able to prove much with picks this year. So hopefully that changes with our Kentucky Derby picks. We'll talk to Dick Girardi at 5 o'clock. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending. And at 5:45, wrap up today's show like we always do with Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure studios where family and fun come together. It's pool time, and Family Leisure is already booking pool installs for 2025. Buy now and get on the list for your pool installation. 2024 pools starting at $19.99 installed. Liners starting at $299. All pool accessories up to 20% off. 5 to 6 person hot tubs starting at $69.99, and swim spas and cold plunge tubs now $2,000 off. Don't forget about patio furniture. Select sets now up to 50% off. And if you mention this ad, get free installation only at Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40.
We're Sports Time. We're with you until 6 o'clock. He's Brian. I'm Brett. And we want you to be a part of our show by texting or calling 901-360-8255. That's the Sissy's Log Cabin text and talk line. All our guests will appear on the Sissy's Log Cabin guest line at 901-360-8255. Under the direction of Landon Schmidt, we're Sports Time, and we're always from our Family Leisure studio. And this hour is always brought to you by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Great offers on all 2025 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Call them at 901-334-9673. But stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway, the only Lexus dealership in Memphis, and put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2025 flagship LS500. You'll be driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the safe, luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, it's got to be the news of Greg Popovich stepping down, no longer going to be the head
Pop
coach.
the lead, huh?
I mean, it's got to be. I mean, a legend like Pop. I mean,
Sure is. Five-time champ.
Incredible.
Never
career.
won back-to-backs. Can you believe that?
That is really hard to believe.
Win all that.
Yeah, that's really stunning. I mean, with that group of guys that he had, to win that much but not win back-to-back is surprising. But the news came out earlier today.
And he hated us in
Well,
Memphis.
that is true. But hey, you know.
He said he did.
He
wanted us kicked out of the league.
He absolutely did. And
he may have been right.
Plenty of run-ins with Pop, that's for sure. But he's now going to transition to full-time to team president after 29 years as the Spurs head coach. But the Spurs, real quick in what they decide to do for the next head coach, assistant Mitch Johnson was announced about an hour after the Pop news that he would be the
They walked down their hall.
next head coach.
Anybody want to coach?
Exactly. Yes. No, they made it really quick. He's been with the Spurs for a decade now. He's been the interim since November. This felt like a Greg Popovich saying, okay, I'll step down, I'll change my role, but this is the guy that's going to be the next head coach, and obviously has been around that group since November.
My top story is right here in Memphis at 191 Beale Street, kind of what we knew was going to happen, even though we were getting the deflection, we were getting the don't look over here, look over there game, as we get so often from this front office grouping. And Tomas Isolo, when asked Saturday if he wanted to be the head coach, he said, why not? Well, they probably should have just hired him right then, because I don't know how long the line is that wanted to be the head coach here. When you do a coach like they did with 9 games ago, a coach with a great reputation, and now I go back to around the trade deadline, it was intentional not to give Taylor Jenkins any help at trade deadline.
You might be right. That's interesting. I haven't heard anybody talk about that, but that is a really good point. They certainly didn't want to make any moves until they were kind of forced to with Marcus Smart at the very tail end of the deadline.
Not top story of the day.
Well, that's my not top story of the day. Tomas Isolo, the next permanent head coach for the Memphis Grizzlies after spending most of his first year as an assistant, but then being promoted to the interim head coach for the Grizzlies. A guy that had success over in Europe and was a guy that was sought out by multiple teams in the NBA to not only just be an assistant coach, but to be a head coach for their franchise. So I don't know what this move was. I know there was a story earlier this season about how the Grizzlies gave him more money as an assistant than you would usually give assistants to try to keep him from taking a head coaching job. So this felt like all along he was going to be the successor no matter when it happened. And now we will see. Obviously, we've already talked about it. There's going to be a lot of deflecting and defending of, well, he only had 9 games in the regular season, then the playoffs. He was put in so long, everything was already there.
Pay no attention to that 51-point loss.
Exactly. No. Yeah, forget about that. You know, against OKC, they're a great team, but okay, sure. I'll play with that right now. I'll go with it. But we're going to see, after a whole off season, after this roster is going to be tailored to what he wants to do moving forward, we'll see next regular season. If the defense improves, if the offense looks good, if they're having a lot of success, then sure, it worked. But if it's the other way, then we'll know it was not the right decision.
But Brian, we always wait and then we see, and nothing changes.
Yeah.
In fact, with Tiger basketball this year, we waited, and everybody ready to use the seed as the excuse. They'd fallen in that 7 or 8 no man's land.
Absolutely.
Didn't do that though. Didn't have that comfortable to fall back on. And then awarded by being the men's athletic department team of the year.
That's right. How about that?
Huh?
Award season, Brett.
What was that? My not top story. Only one NBA playoff game tonight, Houston at Golden State. Houston trying to swing things back to Houston with a win in San Francisco. Last night was great. Jalen Brunson willed the very average, I think, Knicks to victory. They may win one against Boston, but New York City, they'll think they matter for 2 weeks in the big series against Boston. That's okay. Clippers win in Game 7 Saturday at 6:30 in Denver.
Yeah.
Wow, what a normal start time for a Western Conference game.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird for
Is
them.
everybody gonna be home in time?
Well,
It's
I don't
Saturday.
know.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
well, hey, I guess Saturday makes a little more sense. But yeah, it's gonna be weird for people in Denver. But I'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break, and when we return, we're talking wagering with Alan Bell.
Hello, sports fans out there. Walker Taylor here with the Germantown and Collierville Commissary. We just celebrated our 43rd year in business, and I would like to thank our fantastic customers and especially our loyal staff. Time has flown by. We now have a second location, Poplar and Houston Levy in Collierville. Catering is a specialty of ours. 50 to 5,000, no job too small, no job too big. Full service or self-service. We also have a party room in Collierville that is great for rehearsal dinners, business meetings, you name it, we'd love to have you. Also, our barbecue party packs start at $8.75 a person. Barbecue, beans, slaw, bun sauce, including serving utensils. Especially great for tailgating with football season coming up. The commissary restaurants also believe in giving back to the community. Possibly you have been approached by somebody selling a barbecue 6-pack coupon for fundraising. Cheerleading groups, church groups, anything to help a worthy cause. Holidays are near. Smoked hams and smoked turkeys will be on the pit before you know it. Come see us at Germantown and Collierville Commissary. Also check us out at commissarybarbecue.com.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to the retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. Also stores in Cleveland, Mississippi and Little Rock. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, and family projects call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Is in the air, and it's the perfect time to grill, chill, and save with Choates. Install a new generator, tankless water heater, or Carrier HVAC system, and you'll get your choice of a free green egg grill or 36 months no interest financing. Stay powered during storms. Enjoy endless hot water and slash your cooling costs this summer with a high-efficiency Carrier system, and grill some slow smoke barbecue on us. But hurry, this special ends soon. And if you're dealing with plumbing or electrical problems, Choates is here for you too. Give us a try and take $60 off your repair. Leaky faucet, clogged drain, broken outlet, lights flickering? Call Choates and save $60 on your plumbing or electrical repair service. Call 347-8086 or visit ChoatesHVAC.com today. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
I don't think I'm a bad golfer. I know I'm a bad golfer. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark's Main Store Realtors. And sometimes bad is not quite the right word. Awful, that's more like it. And when it comes to selling houses, that's a whole different story. Over the many years that I've been in the real estate business, I have refined and perfected my highly successful strategic marketing program. In golf, forget about my normal 5 strokes on a par 3. But remember the home I just closed in November with 2 offers at full list price. Okay, let's review. If you're thinking of selling, wouldn't you want an experienced player on your team to lead you to the closing table? Someone whose background is marketing and not merely putting a sign in the yard. And remember that people often say that when you want the job done, call who? Sheldon. You can reach me, Sheldon Rosengarten, at memphisrelocate.com or 483-0546. That's 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. And go Tigers.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting to build in the Midtown area. I-40 over here at Chelsea. Still has some storm damage or some severe weather. Went through our area earlier as I-40 really starts to build again here across the I-40 bridge over into West Memphis. Weimer's Jewelry is your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season. Go see them this weekend and shop local at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck, your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time. Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus and Davis. Here are your hosts, Let's Talk Sports with Brian Davis.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. We're about to talk with Alan Bell from Driving the Line. Every single Friday we talk with Alan about wagering. Plenty to get to with him with all the baseball action, Major League Baseball and college as well as these NBA playoff games. Definitely going to get some picks from Alan. And man, I always talk about with any playoffs, they're so hard to bet, so hard to really get a handle on in terms of spreads, in terms of totals. Unders in the NBA in terms of totals is probably the most consistent option. But these games have been really fun and kind of really hard to figure out.
Yeah, and at some point today we got to do Showboat Bankroll.
That's right. We do have to do Showboat Bankroll. They're playing early tomorrow, the 11 a.m. game tomorrow. So get the day started with the Showboats. Last time I checked, they were a 4.5-point underdog, still a 4.5-point underdog. So we'll play it off that, and I'll go ahead and say it right now. I'm taking the Showboats in this one. I mean, no question about it. They should have had that game at home. I understand now on the road at Houston. A couple weeks have passed. But, you get that win last week, get the ball rolling. They say you just got to get that first one, and then it's easier after that. Maybe that's what we see this weekend.
Yeah, having a little phone trouble trying to get a hold of Alan Bell. And tonight, we're down to a really light NBA night from here on.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you're eliminating
cut
all
in
these
half.
teams. Yeah, it's gonna get a little skinny, but certainly tonight with only one game, Rockets and Warriors. Yeah, I mean that's kind of hard to believe that we're to that point, but that game's gonna be incredible. I mean, we've talked about it a lot. Golden State has really kind of dominated this series for the most part, but you had what you saw with the Rockets at home in the last game. If they can keep that momentum, keep that pressure on Golden State, especially defensively, maybe we could see another Game 7, because right now we're only looking at one Game 7 in the NBA.
And we had the surrender by Golden State the other night just to kind of save up for another day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've seen, that's the biggest thing, is I've seen a lot of people trying to put a whole lot into what the Rockets showed in that last game, and Warriors are in trouble. No, Warriors aren't in trouble. They have dominated every game except for that one, and so I think Golden State's going to get the win tonight. I don't know what that line is, but I think I would have to go with Golden State.
5.5 Golden State.
Yeah, I think I'd probably take Golden State in this one. At home, you just got blown out in the game before. I think Golden State wins.
Well, the surrender flag going up, that's the seed to blowing a 3-1 lead.
Sure, it is. But I think they got too many guys, and I think at home, we've seen them kind of push the Rockets around.
They've had no pressure on them in this series, though.
No, they haven't, and I don't really.
This
think
would put pressure on them. 3-3 back Houston would.
Absolutely would. I mean, all the pressure would be on then, but I really like Golden State tonight.
Watching last night, all right, it kind of twofold question. One, do you think Jalen Brunson is a top 20 player in the league?
Yes, I do.
and he really matters where he is and what he's doing for that franchise, and maybe the most favorable contract in the history of team sports.
Oh man, it's incredible
that he willingly signed up for. They may have to redo a little bit of it, but I don't know that they can or will. So if you think he is, where do you think, is it more toward 20 than it is toward 10?
Yeah, I think he's somewhere probably between 15 and 20. If I had to say,
with that, then is Ja Morant a top 20 player still? And who's better, Jalen or Ja?
I think it's close. I'd say Brunson maybe just a little bit, just a little better, but
more reliable.
Yeah, certainly, and that's a big part of it is the health, and you've seen Jalen Brunson. He's a stockier guy. And he has taken some falls, he's taken some hits, and but has been very reliable. And I mean that shot he hit at the end of the game last night was. I mean, that was incredible. I mean, getting Thompson, getting him shuffling and, bringing that back and just knocking it down.
A couple of series before
incredible.
That, working the baseline and under the goal.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And at every single angle to get a shot up. I said in my not top story, he willed them to victory.
Oh, he absolutely did.
I don't think the rest around, I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's great around him.
I mean, that fourth quarter was, get the ball to Brunson and get out of the way. I mean, it was very little passing, very little other guys, creating much offense. It was just kind of let him work, and that's exactly what he did against kind of an inexperienced Pistons team. And you saw a couple times where the Pistons really struggled down the stretch, but really, really fun series for Detroit to stay in that series and kind of push it to the game 6 and keep all of these games extremely close. That was a really fun series.
It was. And Detroit, they gained something in these next few years, but we know oh so well, whatever you gain, you better cash that in pretty fast.
Yeah, and that's the question with what does Detroit do this offseason? Because they've got some really fun young pieces, and they've done a nice job of putting some veterans alongside that. Malik Beasley, what he's done this series, coming off the bench, but really producing. I'm sure he's probably back, but Tim Hardaway Jr. wasn't very good last night. He's been kind of up and down towards the end of this season. How do they move some of those older guys? Do they stick with this young core over the offseason, or they think maybe we can go and trade one of these guys and get back a player that can make us really, really good, or at least better? I think Detroit's going to be a fun team to watch this offseason.
They are going to be. They need time and a little more, but they're going to be around. They got a great young nucleus. I heard Brian Windhorst today talking about nobody will ever wear number 11 again in New York Knicks history. That Jalen Brunson, with what he's already done, what he's getting ready to go on, the run that everybody expects him to go on, that he will be that player, that number 11 will be retired. He's the last to ever wear it. That's a little fast, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think let me see what else he does. But, it could be one of those things where he just means so much to the Knicks and, they decide. I mean, Tony Allen, a lot of people were kind of scratching their head when the Grizzlies announced they were retiring Tony Allen's jersey. And so, I mean, maybe it's the same thing with Brunson of, maybe he doesn't reach the ultimate mountaintop, but he just meant so much to that Knicks team that they retire it. A little different there because, the Knicks have a lot of history. The Grizzlies do not. But, yeah, I think maybe a little fast there from Windhorst, and that doesn't really surprise me.
Now, Patrick Ewing has his number retired, and he never won a title.
Yeah.
But he's also, I think he's all-time leading scorer, all-time leading rebounder.
Right, yeah. No, he's a guy that if his number isn't retired, I've got some questions. He's in that echelon of players.
They have Walt Frazier, number 10, John Williamson, 12, Earl the Pearl, 15, Willis Reed for 19, David DeBusschere, 22, Bill Bradley, 23, Patrick Ewing, 33, 613 for Red Holtzman's wins. And also 15 for Bill Bradley again.
Huh.
I don't remember him. I don't remember him wearing 23 or 15. I thought he wore 24 with the Knicks.
Well, yeah, I don't know about
I'm almost certain he wore 24 with the Knicks.
That's out of my range, so I can't help you with that. It's a lot of numbers in the teens already taken up.
And I didn't remember John Williamson's. I thought his was retired. I mean, that was Google AI that gave me that answer. I thought his number. I know Dick Barnett's retired.
Yeah.
I don't think that's right.
I was about to say you can't.
And John
always
Williamson
trust.
played for the Nets. He didn't even play for the Knicks.
Yeah.
He played for the Nets mostly in the ABA, and I know Bill Bradley was 24. So So much for AI.
What Google AI thing did I look up once that just it made zero sense at all? Of like it was like this guy did this, and I was like he absolutely did not win that, and I don't remember what it was. Something about college coaches, maybe like coaches that have never won it or coaches that have won. I don't remember what it was.
Well, once again, it's good to think for yourself and kind of know something.
Exactly. Yes. And I forgot what it was, but it was something like so obvious of like, no, that's
And
definitely
Dick
not
Barnett
right.
just passed away this week. Retired
Really?
number 12 for him, and he was 88 years
Holy cow.
of age when he passed, and he was mostly a bench player, a 6-man type.
Really? Wow.
But slow down on 11 being
Yeah.
retired.
Yeah, let's give it a couple more laps around the track. Let's see what happens with this Knicks team before we
I
we go to
understand
that.
Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, no, I definitely get Patrick Ewing. I mean, that's easy, but I don't know. I mean, Knicks have a pretty good history, so I don't know if I'd give it to Brunson. Just a couple first round series wins.
Yeah, I mean,
It feels a little fast.
But Knicks, and I'm surprised Brian Windhorst played into that. I can understand New York Talk Radio the day after them advancing out of the first round.
Oh man, you get the local New York sports station, and Brunson, we got to retire the number immediately.
Make you mayor.
Yeah, I mean I'm all for that, but yeah. Windhorst on ESPN maybe a little different there, but no, I mean Knicks. I'm with you. Like I think this was a really good first round matchup for them against the Pistons. I think it was a good matchup for both sides, but Pistons, I think a good team. I just don't see them getting much farther. I don't see them putting up a big matchup against Boston.
Boston's not scared at all.
No, not at all. I mean it goes back to Keith Smith one time with us, he said in the East, you've got Cleveland, you've got Boston, you got a big space, and then you've got the New York Knicks. I mean, they're not even in the same category with each other, and that's 1, 2, 3. So I mean, I think Boston will be just fine against the Knicks.
Sure don't want it to happen, but there can't be enough turned ankles for the Knicks to beat them 4 times in 2 weeks.
No, it feels very unlikely. But good win for the Knicks yesterday, and we'll talk a little bit more about that about 4:30 when we dive into the NBA playoffs. But let's go ahead and get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk some baseball.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom-made solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Top Gun is the largest indoor range in the Mid-South, but size isn't their only difference. Top Gun has the best instructors with over 300 years combined experience and classes all the way from first shot to master marksmanship. Plus, Top Gun is affordable. Total membership is just $48 a month. That's just $1.60 a day for a limited range time. Free gun rentals with purchase of ammo and members lounge access. Top Gun 2770 Whitten Road and TopGunMemphis.com. Always ship with the best. Top Gun Memphis.
June is always a month of celebration. People are getting married. People are graduating, and those people need somewhere to do their celebrating. And we offer up Bell Tavern, Memphis' perfect downtown bar. You could take your group to a chain restaurant or bar, but those places don't have a tenth of the charm of Bell Tavern. Chains are sterile and impersonal. Bell Tavern is a cool oasis for most places. Signature cocktails, ice-cold beer, and the friendliest staff in town. This is a chance for you to show off your knowledge of Memphis, to impress out-of-towners by taking them to the coolest bar they've been to in a long time. Unless, of course, they go to Bell Tavern.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. I'm here at Town Village Audubon Park interviewing a new resident, Carolyn. Share with us why you chose Town Village.
Well, if your parents or special friends need to make that big move, let me share with you my experience. It was tough for me to leave home, but then I discovered Town Village. I would like to highly recommend Town Village to you and your loved ones. After looking at all the amenities and meeting all the people and staff, I was hooked. From restaurant, bistro, 3 meals per day, housekeeping, transportation, security, health care, physical therapy, exercise room, and even a heated pool and spa. Come see us and make your new home in Town Village.
Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home, Town Village.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56. This hour is brought to you by Lexus Service. Here are your hosts, Let's Talk Sports with Brian Davis.
We're going to switch gears a little bit. I said we were talking baseball here. We'll do that a little later in the show. A lot of PJ Haggerty news coming out today. The most recent news, just a couple minutes ago, about 15 minutes ago, the NBA announced the 75 players that have been invited to the 2025 NBA Draft Combine, which will take place May 11th through the 18th. PJ Haggerty is among the 75 listed as a Combine invite, so he'll be able to go out there and show what he's got in the NBA Draft Combine. But the other news that came out earlier today is that Jeff Goodman, who's done a lot of reporting over the last couple weeks about PJ Haggerty, he reported earlier today that Ole Miss is now out of the PJ Haggerty sweepstakes, and that it sounds like NC State is the leader. NC State is going to get close to that $4 million, not necessarily to that $4 million, but it does sound like all signs are currently pointing to PJ Haggerty being part of the Wolfpack next year.
So you think first number is 3?
I think first number's 3. I don't know what the second number is, but
wonder how high it had to go for the Tigers to say we're out.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know we're talking with
Could
Greg.
they go to 2.7, 2.8?
Well,
was 3 a cutoff?
There are reports that it was $3 million for the Tigers. I know, Greg mentioned that yesterday that they really couldn't go higher than 3 is what it sounds like. And so, I don't know what the NC State. I know with Will Wade going over there, he's a heck of a recruiter. He knows the money game really well, and it sounds like everything you
Big
see
offers.
and read. Oh man, I mean he any way he can get him, Brett. He is about it. But it does sound like NC State has really revamped their NIL budget and the money that they've got for the basketball team with Will Wade coming in. So it sounds like, I don't know what it's going to be, but it sounds like it could be close to that $4 million.
I don't know what the number is. If there's one, I would imagine there is one with all of it around Ole Miss. But I would just, around $4 million. I don't know for a fact, but I think that would be for somebody that could win a Heisman Trophy.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I also saw something interesting about Ole Miss and PJ Harry. This is also Jeff Goodman reporting on it. He said in the tweet, "I'm told by one source that Ole Miss never actually spoke to Haggerty through this process." So, it sounds like maybe interested, but not really that real push for him. But yeah, I mean,
I don't know if I'd believe that.
I don't either. But it doesn't.
And it gets down to who is Ole Miss?
Sure.
Head coach,
Exactly.
is assistant, is
Exactly.
the collective person, or is it?
And what does that necessarily mean? They didn't talk to PJ Haggerty himself, because it definitely sounds like dad and agent are running the show in terms of money and different stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think that is open to interpretation of how you see that. But I don't think PJ Haggerty did himself much favors by entering so late, and then immediately after reports come out saying he wants $4 million and wants to run point. I don't think that played in his favor. I think we're seeing that now as it is really kind of dwindling down to just a couple teams.
So most people in agreement, and Greg did just to say. So we think around 3 was the final offer from the Tigers.
That's what it sounds like, at least. Yes.
Well, I would love to know what he actually got, because we were told last year with David Jones, we were told this year with PJ Haggerty, if it's within a ballpark, probably going to be a penny discount.
Sure.
Got none last year, and I just wonder what that is. I mean, if it's got offered 3 and he takes 3.8, okay, I understand that.
Sure.
But if he got offered 3 and he takes 3,150.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, where's all this penny connection?
Sure. And that's
that always gets overstated.
Yeah, and that's the question. Yeah, I'm sure we will get a kind of ballpark figure at some point with NC State, but I would imagine it's north of 3.5. I would say it's probably in that 3.5 to 3.8 category, if I had to guess. But we really won't know until that information is available.
And most people take 3.5 over 3 in any offer.
Absolutely. And
whether it's 35,000 or 30,000.
Exactly. I can't blame you for doing that at all. And
if it's 350,000 or 300,000,
exactly.
You take the 350
every single time.
If it's 3.5 over 3, you take it.
Every single time. And we go back to, I know he's getting invited to the combine. It sounds like he is trying to focus all of his attention on the NBA draft and maybe that opportunity. But there's a very good chance that if he gets, let's just say 3.5 is the number that NC State is given, that could be one of the most in a season he will ever make playing the game of basketball. And so, yeah, I mean, it's one of those decisions where if it comes down to 3.5 over 3, I can't really blame him.
And I said it before Ole Miss was in the mix. I said it when it was the Tigers, and we were thinking maybe Texas, maybe Baylor.
Yeah.
If he's on the point wherever for a long, extended period of time over a lot of games, he will be a turnover machine.
And that's going to be the weird storyline to kind of pay attention to, because I don't
thought he was off the ball.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to be the true point guard for NC State. They might tell him that. They might, create the offense around him being a primary ball handler. But, they went out and got Trey Holloman earlier in the transfer portal, the guy that was the starting point guard for Tom Izzo last year with Michigan State, a guy that was regarded as one of the better pure point guards in the country. So, it's going to be interesting to see how they work those two guys out, and how it plays out if NC State is the answer.
Just in the ACC world, because Will Wade's going to be a problem for everybody in college basketball.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to win.
Oh, absolutely.
He's going to win big. He's going to be good probably next year. But in the ACC world, who does he put the most pressure on?
That's a good question. I think it, especially year one, I think it's North Carolina with
No
all
doubt.
the
Right
uncertainty
down the road.
they have. I mean,
He's got He's got to go to the tournament
exactly
and win a game.
Exactly. And so, we ended the season with a lot of uncertainty, a lot of, what's going to happen at UNC. And, if you got Will Wade at NC State and he goes out there and has a great season and, beats you once or twice, then that could get a little ugly.
No expert on North Carolina whole athletics department am I, but I do know North Carolina basketball. I know that's what starts the music and ends the music. Yep. Whether you got Bill Belichick as head coach or Mac Brown, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's the quintessential basketball school.
Yeah.
Now you see rumors today of the AD opening at Michigan State that Bubba Cunningham may be interested in that as kind of a soft landing for him. You've got a lot of finger pointing and already real bad feelings over Bill Belichick and everything that's been around him, particularly the CBS interview and the girlfriend. I don't know if we talked that much about it, but I'm already sick of it.
Yeah.
You just don't see North Carolina kind of in this rocky waters that often.
Well,
and it starts with basketball.
Sure.
And basketball's rocky.
It absolutely does. When we talked earlier in the show about, where are we a year from now with the Memphis Grizzlies? Where are we a year from now for North Carolina athletics? I mean,
tell me how that finishes.
Exactly. Well, we could be
no tournament. It's goodbye, Hubert.
Exactly. And so we could be sitting here where a year from now in May we're talking about whatever happens with Bill Belichick and all of this stuff, a new AD and a new basketball coach. That would not be a good time to be a Tar Heel. So who knows? I mean, but it's a big year for basketball. And
under kind of a backdrop of conference realignment, they're the most coveted one, SEC and Big Ten fighting for.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, it feels like it's got to be a big year for the athletic department. And you're right, it starts with basketball. But other Tiger basketball news, just real quickly before we get out of here. P.J. Carter, he committed to LSU earlier this afternoon, and Brock Okoje, he committed to Mercer earlier this afternoon. So a couple former Tigers announcing where they'll play next year, and we'll see about P.J. Haggerty. But it does sound like it could be.
How many more years of eligibility for P.J. Carter?
Well, one, but it depends on the JUCO thing, I believe, because he did spend a year or two. I would warn
Memphis Tiger fans, be careful what you say about him leaving for LSU, because you let the coach at LSU have the year next year that he had this year, and he's out. He could be returning back to the Memphis Tigers.
He could, and I don't know if this year is a part of that JUCO thing or not, but
nobody knows.
Yeah, I think next year, regardless, this is last year. But you're right. If he does have remaining eligibility after that, any of these guys, you got to be very careful what you say on their way out, because we've already seen Penny Hardaway very open to guys coming back and being a part of the program. But we'll definitely keep an eye on what happens with P.J. Haggerty. Well, let's go ahead and wrap up this first hour. When we return, we're talking more wagering with Bruce Marshall.
This is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five-Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfume. It's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Hello, sports fans out there. Walker Taylor here with the Germantown and Collierville Commissary. We just celebrated our 43rd year in business, and I would like to thank our fantastic customers and especially our loyal staff. Time has flown by. We now have a second location, Poplar and Houston Levy in Collierville. Catering is a specialty of ours. 50 to 5,000, no job too small, no job too big. Full service or self-service. We also have a party room in Collierville that is great for rehearsal dinners, business meetings, you name it, we'd love to have you. Also, our barbecue party packs start at $8.75 a person. Barbecue, beans, slaw, bun sauce, including serving utensils. Especially great for tailgating with football season coming up. Commissary restaurants also believe in giving back to the community. Possibly you have been approached by somebody selling a barbecue six-pack coupon for fundraising. Cheerleading groups, church groups, anything to help a worthy cause. Holidays are near. Smoked hams and smoked turkeys will be on the pit before you know it. Come see us at Germantown and Collierville Commissary. Also check us out at commissarybarbecue.com.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery instead of dependable service and no long-term contracts. An easy choice. Call Jeff Metis today. 901-382-2363 or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call them at 382-2363. That's 382-2363. Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's starting to build now on all the major outbound routes. A little bit heavier than it was 15-20 minutes ago here in Midtown, especially on 240 going southbound at South Parkway, all the way down past Norris through South Haven right now has increased even more on 55 going southbound into DeSoto County. Weimer's Jewelry is your diamond engagement ring headquarters this coming bridal season, which is just around the corner. Go by and see them this weekend at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
From the Family Leisure Studios, we are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Joining the guys every Friday is college football historian and Vegas legend, Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insiders. CBS Sports, Vegas alongside Vegas Sports.net with over 30 years on Memphis Radio. Sports Time, Bruce Marshall with Brian and Brian.
Bruce Marshall joins us every Friday to talk some wagering from Vegas Insider and CBS Sports. Bruce, thanks so much for joining us. A lot to get to, but I do want to start with some of these coaching changes in the NBA. We'll get to the Grizzlies here in a second, but Greg Popovich, he has announced that he will transition from the head coaching position to team president. Obviously, we know a lot of medical situations this year with him that caused him to step down in November. But what do you make of Greg Popovich calling it quits after 29 years now? The Spurs, they were real quick in naming assistant Mitch Johnson as the next head coach.
Yeah, I mean, Mitch had been there almost this whole season, and they had made some progress, at least, until Wemby had to go out late, so that didn't surprise me at all. I mean, there had been some pressure on Popovich to hang him up because of the health thing, first of all. And he's had a couple of health situations here in the last few months, so, I mean, that was a pretty obvious thing, though it seemed like they had to twist his arm to finally get him to agree to that. But, I mean, I think a lot of us saw this coming, and it's no surprise they named Mitch Johnson the permanent head coach because he served in the interim role almost this entire season.
Yeah, and Greg Popovich lost his wife a few years ago. In that announcement today, they said they were going to make him team president. I don't think that's going to be any heavy lifting for him. Do you, Bruce?
No, it won't. It's probably more of a ceremonial thing. They'll get some input now and then, but it's a nice way to ease him out for sure.
Mm-hmm. And the future for San Antonio, really bright. I was telling Brian this story off the air this morning. I heard Brian Windhorst tell a story on ESPN. They had the group picture of the last couple of San Antonio Spurs rookies of the year. And in that picture was David Robinson, and Victor Wembanyama from last year is in the picture. And he just towers over everyone, especially Castle, and somebody else in the picture was more of a guard type. And Brian Windhorst told the story, Bruce, that he measured at 7'3" 2 years ago for the draft. For the NBA measured him at he measured at 7'5", but he didn't want to be listed as that he got listed at 7'3". That they think now that if you pull the tape measure that he's 7'6" or 7'7".
Wow. He might be, but they got to get him well, though. I mean, that was a potentially serious medical thing he's got, and that's something they've got to really monitor. So let's hope he can get beyond that.
I want to see him standing by Zach Edey, because Zach Edey's one of the tallest outside of Yao Ming I've ever.
I know. Yeah,
stood by.
he and I'm trying to remember how tall Manute was. If he was,
Bo was up there.
He was up there.
Sean Bradley was up there.
Sean Bradley was up there. Wemby can do. He's a different guy, though.
I bet you'll remember this, Bruce. I was told once that Windhorst didn't tell this story. I remember it, though, and heard it again around the passing of Bill Walton, that Walton was around 7'1", but he wanted to be listed as 6'11".
Yeah, I heard that too. Although, when you could tell when he was, I guess Kareem was 7'2". He did look a couple of inches shorter than Kareem when they faced off. But, that might have been, that could have been true with Walton too. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What do you make of the Grizzlies' announcement to take the interim tag off of Tomas Isla?
Yeah, again, not much of a surprise. I think that's, the direction that it seemed like they wanted to go. Now, I'm more, because I think he's still, the new philosophy and the analytic bent. That seems like, that's the way they want to go. I am more curious, though, what they're going to do with the personnel moving forward here, because they're going to have some decisions to make. Ja is one, but do they keep this thing mostly intact? Do they blow it up? There's a risk, though, to blowing it up, and I mean, look at Portland that was knocking on the door for a lot of years there, and with Dame and C.J. McCollum and Terry Stotts, and then they decided, okay, we're going to break this thing up, and they haven't come close since. And now we're going on 4 or 5 years, and Chauncey Billups is trying, but sometimes you blowing it up. You don't. Utah, here's another one. I mean, a few years ago, Utah was like a state-of-the-art team. 3-4 years ago, and now they're complete change. So got to be careful if you're going to blow the thing up, because it could take a long time to come back.
And Bruce, with blowing it up, you can blow it to smithereens. You get rid of Ja, and I'm far moving on from Ja, but you get rid of him, and your ticket sales and your suites and your signage plummet.
That's right. And you don't want to become like the Jazz have the last couple of years, where it's just, I mean, who wants to go watch them? So, especially when it drops off from being competitive. So that's one of the things they're going to have to consider here. But, there's two ways to go here. If they want to just blow it up and start from scratch, that is a tough go. Can they just make some strategic moves here that maybe, keep them in contention and not, just completely blow the whole thing up? That would be optimal, I think. So we'll see what they can do.
We know in any sport it takes players, but who do you think is the coach in the NBA that makes that big a difference? Might squeeze out a few more wins for you than if you didn't have him. And who do you think's best of the coaches that are left remaining in these playoffs?
Well, I mean, this season I might say Kenny Atkinson. I wouldn't have said that before this year, but I'm still kind of surprised, at how well, Cleveland, has performed this year. But speaking of Cleveland here, I just look at Indiana, and Rick Carlisle has seemed to do very well wherever he's been. He seems to fit. He can work with star players. He can his strategy is sound. The temperament is right, and where he's got the Pacers, I mean, they're going to be playing the Cavs coming up, and I give them a shot in the series here. So, maybe Carlisle's the guy for me.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about tonight's game. Rockets and Warriors back in Golden State. Golden State a favorite tonight. Do you like anything in this matchup?
I kind of like it over. Last I saw was around 204. A change in the last week in the NBA playoffs. The first week, and we might have talked about this last Friday, how the unders were really hitting consistently in the first week of the first round. But in the last, this week it's turned around pretty dramatically. Overs now 11-4. The last 15. We saw Houston really force the pace in Game 5. Now, Golden State did sort of surrender early in that game. But still, 76 points in the first half. They were really gunning the engine, and I thought it was interesting what Ime Udoka has done. Even though Jalen Green has not been that productive in this series, 4 games of 11 points or fewer. The other one he had 38, but his inconsistency has got to be a concern. This offense is now running. It is Fred VanVleet's offense here, very underrated. And remember, he brings some experience. He does have a title. He has a ring he won at Toronto. And his numbers the last couple of games have been outstanding, and he's really pushing the pace. He's getting others involved. Thompson and Dylan Brooks both scored over 20 the other night. But this is sort of Van Vliet's show right now, and they're playing at a faster pace. Golden State wants to slow it down some tonight, I would think, because they had been prevailing in the series at a slower pace. That'll be sort of the clash tonight, but I think 204 is too low. They went, 247 their last game a couple nights ago. So 204 looks a little bit low to me. So I look over there. Golden State, I think, advances, but it might be close. 5.5, 6 looks too much for me. So I think I'll just stick with the over on that one.
Is this last dance for Golden State, regardless if it's this round, next round, or they go on and win it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we heard Steph sort of allude to that.
Is it last dance for Steve Kerr?
Yeah, it might be if they win. I think it might be. And Steph sort of told Draymond a few months ago, I think right after they got Jimmy Butler, he said, okay, we got a chance, but this is probably going to be it. And this is the last ride. So I think it is, but I do think they have a chance if they keep everybody in one piece. That's going to be the other thing, keeping all these guys healthy at once, especially Butler, who had that little scare a couple games ago, but looks like he's back. But they've got all these guys in one piece right now, and some of the others, like Shaq likes to call them, like Podziemski and some others, are starting to help out as well. This is their best. This is their chance. It might be their last chance. The window's going to start to really close, I think, after this year, but it's still open right now, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Is tomorrow night must win for Tyronn Lue?
I don't think so, but it would sure help. He's got a lot of support around the league. Steve Ballmer likes him a lot. He knows this was a tough series that they had, considering that they were without Kawhi for half of this season, and the way they closed once they had all their pieces there. I mean, there weren't that many games. Even after Kawhi came back, there were several games. Norman Powell wasn't playing. I mean, you look at where they had Kawhi and Powell and Harden all together. There weren't that many games. So, closing fast and avoiding the play-in round was a feather in Ty Lue's cap. He's got a lot of respect around the league. I think Ballmer likes him a lot, so I don't know that it's do or die. Now, the other side, with Denver, which direction are they going to go? Are they going to, if Adelman wins here, is he a candidate, like San Antonio and Memphis, to stay on full-time? I think that's the one more up in the air than with the Clippers.
What do you make of this series, Knicks and Celtics? Can the Knicks put any pressure on Boston?
They could. I don't think they'll advance, though. I know they ended up pulling that thing out last night, but I still think Boston's going to get through the East. They won't romp through this series, New York get them once, maybe twice. Maybe they can even push it all the way. But the Celtics, they got them last year. I don't know that, getting Cat is, the switch for, Julius Randle. I actually think Minnesota got a little bit the better of that. One other thing with Tom Thibodeau, he really ran his starters a lot this year. Now, I know Brunson was out some late in the season, so the wearing down factor might not be as much for him, but he played big minutes to all of his starters for the whole year, and at some point in the playoffs there, I think they're running out of gas. I thought they started, they pulled it out the last 2 minutes last night in Detroit, but I thought they were sort of running out of gas at the end of that series too, so I think that's going to be the difference. Boston will advance, and it's that other series, I think, that's a little bit more up in the air in the East.
Bruce, are you in Vegas right now?
I'm actually driving to Vegas. I'm out in the middle of the desert, believe it or not.
Is that right? Signal's great.
Outside of Barstow, California, believe it or not.
Wow.
So you didn't want to stay over in Los Angeles and go to the UCLA spring game tomorrow, huh?
Well, I read about that. By the way, I noticed, Aguilar, it's like a quarterback trade. Nico signs and Aguilar then goes to Tennessee. This is a new thing. I mean, this kid from Appalachian State, the first portal window, he goes to UCLA, and the second portal window, he's out, and he's now at Tennessee. So that's sort of like a swap of quarterbacks. I'm not sure Tennessee didn't end up better with that, to tell you the truth, because I know UCLA was sort of raving about Aguilar, and then they made, the splashy deal with Nico, but we'll see. I mean, Tennessee might have got the better of that because Aguilar now lands at Tennessee after putting in some good numbers at App State last year. Very interesting.
How far is it where they it's posted, get your last gas here? How far do you have to go to get to Vegas?
I'm sort of here right now, if you can believe it. I'm at.
Do you need to pull over, Bruce? Don't forget to get gas.
So it's the next gas. I mean, I think there's probably not more than like a 40-mile gap between gas stations.
Okay.
Believe it or not, there's a few there, but from here, the next one ain't for about 40 miles from where I'm at.
But it's not crossing the Mojave, is it?
No, not quite.
Good.
Well, yeah, that is good news. Bruce, when you look at the Game 7 we're going to get tomorrow night, Nuggets and Clippers, I guess first off, what do you make of that game tomorrow night? And then who gives the Thunder more problems in the next series, the Nuggets or the Clippers?
I think the Clippers do, even though they had a little trouble with the Thunder this year, but they didn't get them, full strength the whole time. I mean, the Thunder will be favored no matter against who. I think the Clippers get this game tomorrow. They're going to need James Harden to play as well as he did last night. He had a couple of lesser games in 4 and 5. They need all of their big three, and that's Harden, that's Kawhi, and that's Norman Powell, all clicking. But they have done that. They have won some games on the road, and I still think that game at Golden State the last Sunday of the regular season, that was effectively a playoff game away from home. They won that one. They could have won those first two in Denver. They just got one. They were flat sort of in Game 5, but I think the Clippers can get there. One note on Denver, though. The bench this year, and we saw when Westbrook was hurt for a couple games there, they got very little production, but with him there, that changes the dynamic a bit. That's a really shrewd ad that they made to their roster for him to help off the bench. So Denver's, they're not quite what they were 2 years ago, but having Westbrook there does help them, give them a little bit more bench savvy. But I do think Clippers squeeze this one out and advance, and we'll see what happens in the next round.
I do not think Oklahoma City gets all the way through as the Western representative. I know I'm alone in that. I don't think the Nuggets could beat them in the next round, but I think the Clippers could. And in the Western Conference Finals, potentially, I think Minnesota could.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, though, I'd keep an eye on the Warriors still here, too. Like we mentioned a minute ago, last ride, but, you've got some real difference makers there and experience, so very intriguing in the West. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Talking to Bruce Marshall, he joins us every week to talk wagering from Vegas Insider and CBS Sports. Some good series getting started in Major League Baseball today. Anything you like tonight in MLB?
Yeah, I go against the Angels forever here now. I mean, they are really a mess. I think they're worse than the White Sox. Wow. Trout's hurt now. You look at Reed Detmer's ERA the last two nights. You can't believe it. And why they used him last night after he got smashed on Wednesday in Seattle. His ERA the last two nights, boys, is 243. You're right. That's right. 243.00.
That's what the Dow finished up today, 243, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So there you go. But they're good for the Dow, not good for the ERA.
No.
But they're an absolute mess. Skubal tonight goes. Soriano's pitching for the Angels, one of several Angels starters in the rotation who are starting to really wobble. This team's going to lose 100-plus games. And Detroit, look at that record. I mean, since they lost those 3 to the Dodgers, that's the best record in the league since that first series in L.A. It might be the best record anyway. In the American League, I think it's top. So Skubal tonight on the run line is probably there. I don't know why Kansas City's an underdog in Baltimore tonight. I know the Orioles won 2 or 3 from the Yankees, but Kramer is pitching tonight. He's been one of the guys, the central guys, in what's been wrong with their rotation. And look at Kansas City. They've really turned it around the last 2 weeks. They've won 8 of 9. The pitching has been great. They only allowed 3 runs the whole series at Tampa, sweeping the Rays. And Waka's last start only allowed he didn't allow any runs last Saturday versus Houston. So Kansas City should not be a dog tonight. I'll take them. And I might take the Braves tonight, too, with Holmes and a real flyer there, just because the Dodgers out on the road are not quite the same. As a true visitor, they're 4-7 this year. That's not counting those 2 games in Japan. But when the schedule gets kind of tough, they've blinked. The Braves are a lot further along than they were when they got swept by the Dodgers in the first week when they were losing all the games. They've won 9 of 12. And Yamamoto got beat his last start. Pittsburgh beat him. So I think the Braves might be worth a look tonight.
Bruce, it's that time again tomorrow. The Run for the Roses at Churchill Downs, one of the great cathedrals of American sport. Really, one day a year we look into it. I mean, everything else we get to enjoy a lot more. But tomorrow is the big day in Louisville. What's your picks?
Well, I'll tell you. Let me be on my little soapbox here for a second. The Kentucky Derby is great. The spectacle and all that. I think it's sort of overrated to go there. I only went once. It's good on the bucket list, and it's a very corporate event. I do not like the company Churchill Downs now. I don't think there is any entity in the country that has harmed horse racing more than Churchill Downs, mainly because all the tracks they've closed that they own. They're a real estate company now that has gaming interests, and they've kept the Louisville facility there as sort of their shining example, but they have closed a lot of tracks around the country because they're a real estate company now, and I don't like them. But the Derby is still the Derby, and it's the one time a year we seem to look at horse racing, and I wish that wasn't the case. For some reason, and I think because where it is in the calendar, it doesn't have a lot of challenges in the first Saturday in May. So we focus on horse racing, but the whole industry there, the breeding part of it, these horses go out to stud who win any of the Triple Crown races too soon, and the handicap races in the fall always suffer. Having said all that, off my soapbox, who do I like here tomorrow? How about this one, Burnham Square? The reason I want him to win, he's a gelding, and it goes into what I said before. I want the winner here, or any potential Triple Crown winner, to have a career after the Triple Crown. I want him to race for a year or 2 or 3. Geldings will keep racing. This horse did win the Bluegrass. He's a closer, and we'll see. Now the track, he could have an off track tomorrow. It might be raining. If that's the case, Cold Battle, watch him. He's 2 for 2 in the off track in the mud. He could be worth watching. I also like Baeza, who's gotten in on this last because there was a scratch, so he was the next horse on the list to get in. He would have already qualified had the Santa Anita Derby had 6 horses instead of 5. He would have had enough points in that system that they have. But a lot of people I talk to think he's got a real shot, and I like the fact he's named after Braulio Baeza, one of the great jockeys of long ago, who's still around. He's 85. He had to retire in 1976. Just he's having trouble making weight. But I read a story recently here. They referred to Baeza as a living ghost of horse racing's past, and I think that's very true. Baeza actually won the Derby in '63 aboard Shadowgate, so I think this would be kind of a neat story if a horse named after him actually won. So watch out for Baeza, too.
That would be. You got anything in the 4th spot for us to put it in a wheel?
If you want to go 4th, maybe journalism in there because he's probably going to be in the money somewhere. But it's that mud. If it's raining tomorrow there, I mean, you really got to relook at this thing, and that's why I think Cold Battle should be in there if it's raining because he's a good mudder. We'll see.
It's going to be fun tomorrow afternoon. Bruce, before we let you go, where can we find more of you?
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Check me out online. Picks, VegasInsider.com, CBS Sportsline, Sportsline.com, and the new places for picks are the different Twist, winnersandwhiners.com, and picksandparlays.com.
Bruce, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy your weekend. We'll do it again next Friday.
Okay, boys. Thank you.
Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce. Have a great weekend. Bruce Marshall with us every week from Vegas Insider and CBS Sports. So his in order, he's got Burnham Square to win. That's the 9-horse. Cole Battle to place, the 16. Baeza to show that coming out of the 21 hole, only 19 horses, but out of the 21. And Journalism to come in 4th, 8. So 8, 9, 16, 21 ticket.
I love it. Why not?
I agree with him on 2 of the 4.
I agree with him on 1 of the 4. How about that?
Okay.
How about that?
Landon, have you ever picked the Kentucky Derby before?
Never in my life.
Well, today will be the day.
It'll be exciting. I'm excited for it. I got a few picks up my sleeve.
If you were any worse at picking than what you've shown in golf picks, I'd give you my strategy during the next break. But I can't do that because you have dominated since picking.
Only 13 horses to win the Triple Crown all time. Do the cool kids say the Trip Crown?
I've not heard it. We could start it.
I think you just started the trend, Brett.
Could be the one. We could be the cool kids.
You're the cool kid.
Yeah.
No. Sir Barton in 1919 was the first to win the Trip Crown. Only 2 winning Trip Crown winners, American Pharaoh and Justify. They have really good lives.
Oh, yeah. Really good.
Really good.
Great lives.
Nice to be.
Sure.
Nice to be Justified American Pharaoh.
If you had to reincarnate as something, make me a Triple Crown winning horse.
And
why not?
Tomorrow at 6:05, we'll have the only horse that can win it this year.
That's right. Well, that's the beauty of the Kentucky Derby is every year you get a different horse that wins it, and then right after they win it, it's all right, Triple Crown, here we go, and then that goes until the next one, and then you either get to that third try or you don't.
This was something. This was right up there at one time in the country. Late 50s, baseball, boxing, horse racing, college football were the top 4 sports.
Wow.
Baseball clearly number 1.
Yeah.
And in the 70s, we had Secretariat in 73, had back-to-back Triple Crown winners in 77 and 78.
Holy cow.
I thought it was easy.
Yeah, well, how times have changed, Brett. It's really crazy. I'll be honest.
And we just wonder if tomorrow's winner will even be in Baltimore in 2 weeks.
That's another great question.
We'll ask Dick Girardi that.
We certainly will. It's going to be fun. Always fun talking horse racing with Dick Girardi, and we'll do that here in a little bit. Before we get to this break, let me remind you, this weekend, maybe you need something to do, head down to Olive Branch and check out Frontier Western Store. Family-owned and operated since 1967, Frontier Western is your one-stop shop for some of the biggest brands in clothing. Check out Frontier's world-famous boot showroom. Whether it's work boots or dress boots, Frontier has you covered for the entire family with plenty of in-stock proven classics like Ariat, Dan Post, and Durango, just to name a few. Frontier Western Store is the one-stop shop for Carhartt in the Mid-South, and they've also got you covered with thousands of different brands and new shirts and jeans. Frontier has you covered with the biggest jean brands from Ariat to Wrangler, and you'll love how easy it is to find the perfect size and style of jeans for you. Frontier's pricing, it's lower than online and chain stores, so you know you'll be getting the best deals. Head down to 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch to check out the whole selection. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Sundays, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Go down and check out Frontier Western Store. Well, let's get to another break, and when we return, we'll talk a little baseball.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom-made solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
So this month, we, of course, celebrate the World Championship of Barbecue.
Yes, at Tiger Lane.
And if you're on a barbecue team, we wish you the very best.
I do not like where this is going.
We wish you the very best at being second.
Oh, this is bear poking.
Because the best barbecue in Memphis is, and has been for a long time, to be found at Central Barbecue.
Barbecue contestants take this very seriously.
Central Barbecue takes barbecue more seriously than anyone.
These are not people you want to make mad.
I don't want to make them mad. I just want them to be prepared to be outdone by Central Barbecue.
And I want everyone to know that I did not write this.
And it's really not even fair.
Spring is in the air, and it's the perfect time to grill, chill, and save with Totes. Install a new generator, tankless water heater, or Carrier HVAC system, and you'll get your choice of a free green egg grill or 36 months no-interest financing. Stay powered during storms, enjoy endless hot water, and slash your cooling costs this summer with a high-efficiency Carrier system, and grill some slow-smoke barbecue on us. But hurry, this special ends soon. And if you're dealing with plumbing or electrical problems, Choates is here for you too. Give us a try and take $60 off your repair. Leaky faucet, clogged drain, broken outlet, lights flickering? Call Choates and save $60 on your plumbing or electrical repair service. Call 347-8086 or visit ChoatesHVAC.com today. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Take your basketball skills to the next level at Shoot 360 Memphis. Shoot 360 is a revolutionary basketball training facility that combines cutting-edge technology with gamification and provides instant, objective feedback, hands-on, one-on-one expert coaching. And now, introducing Shoot 360 Forever, a newly renovated 50,000 square foot facility with 2 NBA regulation-sized courts, 3 high school-sized courts, and 4 shooting bays with Shoot 360 technology. Memberships are now on a monthly basis. You can become a member at both locations. Whether you're an aspiring young talent, NBA player, or looking for a unique workout, all skill levels are welcome at Shoot 360 Memphis to learn proper shooting and passing techniques, improve fundamentals, and gain a competitive edge while having fun. Shoot 360 Memphis now in Cordova and Connerville. Call them today at 901-779-3176. That's 901-779-3176. The future of basketball training is here. Shoot 360 Memphis. Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Still a little bit of rubbernecking going on over here on 40 eastbound at Hollywood as they clean up the paperwork on this earlier crash. It's been busy today over here on 240 from Perkins all the way to 385 Billmore. Sparkway had a wreck. They had it really bogged down a little bit earlier. Now it's starting to get heavier over here on this side of town, especially this time of the afternoon. Dandelions, crabgrass, Lawn Solution says give them a call. They'll take care of your yard. These guys are the best, and they're affordable. Lawn Solutions, 867-5626. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Back in Sports Time. Brian Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. And we got to talk some baseball, some series getting started today. A couple getting started yesterday, but some fun series. And another weekend where It's hate weekend between us and Landon with his
Sure is.
Mets going up against the Cardinals, this time in St. Louis. So maybe
Landon has turned every weekend into that with his
really
prodigious golf picks.
Yeah, a little peek behind the curtain. I'm over there during the break, and I'm kind of standing behind Landon, kind of doing my own thing, just looking at my phone, unprompted, nothing. We weren't even talking to each other, and I just hear Landon go, Steven Yeager tied for 8th right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep. That's great.
All right. Yeah. It's beautiful. That's beautiful.
That's why every weekend has turned into not very
really
much fun.
has. And
Thanks,
every
Landon.
Wednesday has turned into.
You see who's leading down in Dallas. Rainmard, second round.
Yeah. I know Scotty was leading earlier, but that was before it started raining.
Scotty's leading right now, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't tune in around when it was raining. I just kind of looked at the leaderboard this morning. But
It'd be fun to have golf all day during the day and then be at the ballpark for Mariners and Rangers all weekend, Brian.
yeah, it'd be really fun.
Your American League team,
That's
the
right.
Mariners.
Yeah, and Mariners playing
Right in the mix
That's right.
a lot so far.
Yeah, no, they're playing well.
Off to a good start.
Got a really, kind of slow first couple weeks of the season. Really struggled. Pitching wasn't really there. The bats were cold, and now I've really turned it around. And you look at them, 18-12 overall on the road against the Rangers, who have been really up and down. Those bats have for the most part been pretty cold down in Dallas. So that's gonna be a fun series, right? A weekend where you can watch some golf and then get down and watch some baseball.
Sonny Gray has been worth it to the Cardinals, hasn't he?
Yeah. He's been really
Don't they have to try to be dealing him around deadline time or even before?
Yeah, for sure. It's been fun. It's been good. You've been great.
He's done his job.
But hey, I think you got to start looking towards the future, and I don't think that future includes
On a
Sonny Gray.
contending team, is he a third starter?
He's probably 3. Yeah. I'd say probably a 3. I mean, it can maybe be a 2, but I think certainly a 3. But yeah, that's the question. We were talking about it last year around trade deadline of, okay, here we go, Cardinals, make some moves. Let's start dealing some of these guys. Let's get young. And they didn't do it. And then so now maybe this year at the trade deadline, we'll play that game again of, okay, let's deal. Let's get some of these guys out of here, and we'll see if they do it.
And I mean this sincerely. This is total question. Mm-hmm. Any parallels to the Cardinals' reluctance for the teardown to potentially the Grizzlies? I know the backgrounds and histories aren't the same.
Right.
But Cardinals hadn't won a playoff series in a long time.
Yeah, I
think 2014.
Maybe a little similar, but
I don't know. It would be more toward next year for the Grizzlies to be stuck that little bit old, a little bit young,
I think,
and hadn't won anything with it.
I think so. Maybe next year. But I mean, there are certainly similarities there, and I just 14 and 18 on the season for the Cardinals. I see them going nowhere. I don't think this is going to be a very fun series this weekend against the Mets. And so I mean, I'm hopeful that this year at the trade deadline they start making some of those moves and kind of pulling triggers on a couple of these guys that there will be a market for.
It's going to be hard to watch from July 1 on.
Oh yeah. No, it's
already getting there.
What's been the last 2 seasons, I mean.
Last year you contended.
You can sell it if you
around
want.
till August 10th.
Did
15th.
Did they?
Yeah.
I mean, we can sell that if we want. I'm all for it, but
yeah,
it's been rough.
We know better.
Oh, certainly. We can.
And 2 years ago, abject.
2
disaster.
years ago was just that was terrible. But yeah, I mean it's going to be a long summer for Cardinal fans. And,
is the baseball translation of Ali Marmol Tomas Isolo?
Man, I certainly hope not for the Grizzlies' sake.
I think the English translation is still Dave Yeager.
Well, again, I hope not for Grizzly fans. I sure hope that's not the case, but oh man, who really knows? I guess we'll find out eventually. I love what Bruce was saying about this Royals-Orioles series that gets started tonight. He was questioning why in the world are the Royals underdogs in this game, obviously being on the road. But it feels like everybody is looking at this Orioles team, 12 and 18, but going, one of these days, it's all going to click. This team's talented. It's going to click. They're going to figure it out. Let's not give up on them yet. But, they've got some holes on this team, and a lot of it has to do with the pitching.
It does, and I was expecting a lot more than this from them. I was expecting more last year in final results than we got. We've talked about seeing them, certainly post-COVID, what they bring through here in AAA that we both got to see quite a bit and knew that they had a lot of position starters. But I said, I don't know that they have that big arm or two. Now I know that they don't.
That's right. They didn't have really any guys coming through that could be that next guy. And then this offseason, that was really the big hole that everyone was going, all right, Orioles, we know you've got position players. We know you've got bats. We know you can score a million runs. Yeah. But let's go out and get pitching. And they didn't do any of that this offseason. And so, you came into the season and you're going, okay, well, they can score 10 runs any night. We've seen that, but, will it be 11-10 the final score every night? And now we're seeing the offense kind of struggling early on this season, and the pitching has just not been there at all. I mean, you look at some of these starting pitchers, they've got 4 guys that have made 5 or more starts this season, and the ERAs 7.04, 5.16, 3, and 9.45. I mean, that's not very good for starting pitching.
They've had some really cold games, but that ballpark, even with trying to make the dimensions bigger it's the opposite effect of Citi Field and Comerica in Detroit that they try to get smaller. They've tried to get bigger and less offensive in Baltimore, and they just can't. It's a bandbox.
Yeah.
You can't make it any bigger.
No. You absolutely can't. And so, I don't know. Do you think the Orioles turn it around this year? I mean, I don't know what to expect.
I think it's too much competition in their division.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing. That's that makes it really tough when you already kind of this early. You look up and you're so far behind. That's going to be a fun division to keep an eye on. But yeah, I think you're right.
We know the Yankees are for real. I'm surprised. I think both of y'all kind of were stronger on Boston preseason.
A little bit.
I
know Landon was big on Boston.
He sure was. And Toronto, I think, is right there. And we know Tampa Bay always hangs around to at least make it tough on them.
Sure, yeah. Oh, no.
Well,
I mean,
that's 4.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. So it's going to be it's going to be tough for them, I think, which is kind of a shame because, you saw over the last 2 years that felt like a team that, could be getting ready to, really take over baseball and kind of be not the Dodgers, not the Yankees, but, kind of being in kind of that same group of look how good this team is. They're just going to be so hard to beat. But that is, you talk about, young stars. That's going to be a fun fun series to watch, with what you've got with the Royals and then what you've got on the other side with the Orioles.
A lot of baseball this weekend.
A lot of really good baseball. We look at this Athletics team.
Fun series.
I mean, the Athletics could sweep this weekend against the Marlins. I mean, the opportunity is in front of them to go out there and get a weekend sweep. Marlins have just been really bad, and Athletics now 2 games over 500. Who would have thought?
Could I beam to Toronto and catch Guardians Blue Jays? Really underappreciated weekend series. Where are my leaves this weekend? Are they playing next series set up? I don't know the hockey schedule.
That is a great question. I don't know. I don't think it will be started before maybe.
I don't think they crack open any new series.
I don't
think
so. So let's see.
Jets Blues tonight.
Yeah.
Avalanche Stars tomorrow night, and then Sunday. Now Blues against my Jets if necessary.
Yeah, my Jets, I love it. Let's see, and then Blue Jays next week.
My Leafs came through last night.
They shook off some demons last night.
We got some W's and L's for hockey updates.
We do.
Let's see here.
Noted hockey expert.
I had New Jersey. You had New Jersey. Landon had Carolina.
Oh, wow.
Everything else has been the same.
Okay. All right. Well, at least
a lot of group locks that we nailed.
We did have a lot of group locks. I do remember making hockey picks and hearing a lot of group locks. So
I had Minnesota. You and Landon had Vegas. Moving on.
All right.
I've got Winnipeg. Landon has Winnipeg. You have the Blues.
Whew, all right. That was one. I told you I have a buddy who's a huge hockey fan. He was not happy with my Blues pick when we made picks.
So he's a big Blues fan?
No, he
just knows the game. He thought you were misguided.
Yeah, he said you shouldn't have picked the Blues on that one. I go, okay, thank you for that.
Did you defer to him for any other series information?
No, I texted. So he texted me. I think instead
seeking outside counsel.
Well, that was the thing is he texted me and said, "Are y'all doing hockey picks today?"
Hockey picks.
And I said, "Of course we are." And then we did them. And then afterwards, he was like, "Oh, I forgot to send you the picks you should make for hockey picks." And then he sent them to me. I was like, "Well, it's too late now. Like,
well, yeah,
I don't need them now. I needed them an hour ago."
It's not one of those friends that likes to leave games early, is it?
No. Certainly not. Certainly not. Those hooligans, they are not big hockey fans. I will say that.
We've got to make an NBA series pick at some point.
We do. One. I think we know. I think it's going to be a very quick and easy pick. I don't think we're gonna have much.
I would like to pick Indiana, but I love Cleveland.
Yeah, man. I think Cleveland's really good. Indiana. I think they can make it interesting. I don't really see them being able to win 4 games.
You had Milwaukee. Landon and I both had Indiana. Landon is 5-2. We're 4-3.
Wow.
Through the 7 that are fine.
Wow.
To there, and then we're waiting on Denver and Clippers. We all got Knicks right. We all missed on Lakers. We all got Oklahoma City. We all had Boston, and we all had Cleveland.
All right, so we'll make that pick later, probably around 5:30. A lot of picks we got to do at 5:30. So we'll do that then during.
You've already declared showboats, huh?
Yeah, no, I don't know how much I'm going to put on. I don't think I have very much money left in Showboat Bankroll. I think I've really been struggling.
Well, they're on a win streak.
They are. That's right. That's exactly
and Bryce, you know very well. And I don't mind at all. I want to be correct. I don't like bad stuff out there. Been corrected that the Dow was up 564 today.
Okay,
I was
all right.
joking.
Okay.
But okay, so the Dow's up.
Thank you.
And the other day, this is why I would have failed so badly as the 70s or 80s disc jockey. I thought I had hit Into the Innocence by Don Henley, and a friend of mine said, "Brett, you were playing Last Worthless Evening by Don Henley."
Well, at least you got the artist right.
The artist right.
50% credit on that one.
I mean, people hear everything, don't they?
Oh, they sure do. They sure do. And
I don't mind being correct.
No. I mean, hey, I'm glad you didn't ask me what the Dow was today, because I would have had no earthly idea on what the Dow.
You're not worried
today.
about retirement, are you?
No, I'm certainly.
You're not watching the
a lot
ebb
more
and flow of the Dow every day.
Before I'm worried about the Dow. So
I'm going to get you in that 401k, Brian.
Well, I'll let you be in charge of that one, because I certainly
just a little now. You won't believe how it'll work for you.
Yeah, that's what they all say. It's that's the problem, though, is putting a little bit of it away.
I'm gonna get Melinda involved in that.
Well, she probably is already ahead of you on
bet,
that.
But
She's
you
the
need
saver.
just a little bit.
Yeah.
Landon, you too. But
That's right.
either one of you, I mean, just a little.
Melinda's the saver in the relationship. I am the spender in the relationship. So she's real good about saving money. I am not.
I wouldn't categorize you as a big spender. No.
I'm not a huge spender, but I am not the saver. That's for sure.
No, I'm not a big spender either.
I don't save a ton of money. So that is one of my flaws. But let's go ahead and get to another break. And when we return, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56.
From the
first legal distillery in Texas. Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality spirit that mixes with just about everything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its community and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Sunrise on Jefferson and Sunrise East on Poplar are by far the most popular local breakfast and lunch destinations in Memphis. If you haven't been to either Sunrise location, then your friends and coworkers know something you don't. There is simply nowhere else in Memphis where you get such a high-quality breakfast or lunch made fast, fresh, and just for you. People you know are talking about you behind your back because you haven't tasted the deliciousness that is Sunrise. And there are 2 of them. One of them has to be close to you, and you still haven't had the best breakfast or lunch in town. For shame. For shame.
Pools, and more pools. Yes, it is pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure is already booking pool installs, so you need to buy now and get on that list. 24-foot pools start at $19.99 install. Liners are starting at $2.99. You're going to need some pool accessories, so they're all up to 20% off. Not quite ready for a pool? That's fine. Get a 5 or 6 person hot tub starting at under $7,000. You can also go for a swim spa or perhaps a cold plunge tub. Those are now $2,000 off. Get patio furniture up to 50% off on select sets. Buy your pool now. Get on that install list. Mention this commercial, and your install is free. It's underlined in bold print, so you know it's big. It's pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together. Extraordinary events from once in a blue moon, and right now, even the most extravagant luxuries are well within reach. The one and only May sale is back at Sissy's Log Cabin, and you can save up to 50% on nearly everything in the store. This is your chance to get the service, selection, and experience that makes you feel like family at the best prices of the year. Guaranteed. Don't miss the one and only May sale at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Jenkins Floors and More invites you to the retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. Also stores in Cleveland, Mississippi and Little Rock. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, for speedy security. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, my big number today is the number 4. It is a rare hockey big number of the day. I could go with multiple hockey big numbers.
This is record-setting big number day then.
Do you have a hockey
for,
big number
for
as
rarity
well?
sports?
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I will. Then I'll make it extremely rare. I'll go with 2 hockey big numbers today. How about that? My first hockey big number is the number 4. The Kings, the Los Angeles Kings, are the second team in MLB, NBA, NFL, and NHL history to be eliminated by the same opponent in the opening round of the playoffs 4 years in a row. It came against the Edmonton Oilers. They were eliminated late last night.
They have to hate them.
Oh man, I mean the hatred has to be the best in sports. The other team was the Bruins, who lost to the Canadiens in the opening round in 1984, 85, 86, and 87. My second big number, also a hockey big number, is the number 8. The Wild are the first team in MLB, NBA, NFL, NHL history to make the playoffs 8 or more times in a 10-year span, but lose in the opening round every single time. So not a lot of getting there. It's a lot of getting there, but not a lot of success.
I saw the Wild lose 2 years ago in that first round in St. Louis.
Really?
Remember?
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
When I almost froze to death.
That is exactly right. You got to be prepared going to a hockey game.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's frozen.
That's exactly right.
It's frozen water.
I mean, what do you expect?
It's ice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be warm everywhere else, and then ice cold on the ice.
The very rare hockey horse racing big number. Here we go. My big number is 19. That's the number of horses that will be in the gate tomorrow when they let them fly. That's a lot of horses, less than the other two big Triple Crown races will have. We might get down to the Belmont and be down to 6 or 7.
That's right.
It really gets less as we go on. I hope we have a classic tomorrow. I hope it's a lot of fun, but I hope there's no fouls. The few years ago when they eliminated the horse for bumping, it did something to me, and it did something to me, frankly, with our horse racing fans in this audience reaction to me and my reaction. I don't know how a 1,200 pound animal flying around a corner that gently bumps into someone by accident, how that is, but how they responded. And look, there's not enough of the horse racing community out there, except for 3 weeks a year, to be that haughty.
That's you know what, Brett? That is the truth. But boy, we do like it when it's Kentucky Derby weekend.
We do.
It's gonna be fun.
Where on a bucket list would you have Kentucky Derby?
It's not very high. I'll be honest.
Top
it's
15, 20, and I'm not talking about just if somebody said, "Hey, plane tickets, everything," but to go to anything resembling trouble.
Right.
Would it top 50?
Certainly top 50, maybe top 20. But if it is top 20, it's probably like 19 or 20.
There was a time that it was clearly number one for me until that reaction from, I'm going to say, a coterie of small coterie of people, and that reaction to my reaction to that.
That's funny.
I had it number one forever.
Yeah.
And it's not now. I've moved it to 2, British Open to 1.
Yeah.
British Open at St. Andrews 1.
Yeah, for sure. No,
I wouldn't go this year to Northern Ireland if you had planes and tickets and stuff.
No, probably not. I'll tell you what it's going to be in Northern Ireland.
I don't want to go to Royal Birkdale.
No. But yeah, St. Andrews for sure. St. Andrews, that's easily in my top 20. I can tell you that. But
in fact, I think I would have been to a Kentucky Derby by now, except for how all that was. That did something to me.
Wow, I didn't know the racing community was so hostile. So I guess
oh man,
I guess I learned something new today.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Were you with us then?
I think so.
When was the bumping?
I don't know.
That was post-COVID, wasn't it?
I mean, I was definitely here. I was here all post-COVID. So.
Oh man.
Huh. Yeah. I mean, I believe it. But yeah, no, I watch the Kentucky Derby, but I don't know.
But the good thing, all 10 of them can go away.
Right. Yeah. When less tries to be more, but usually less isn't ever more.
I do like talking to Kentucky Derby with our next guest, though.
Oh, Dick Girardi. I was telling you about that. I love every single year when we have Dick Girardi.
That's how good
on.
he is.
He's incredible.
He makes it interesting.
He does. You no doubt about it. He is incredible. So yeah, let's go ahead and wrap up this hour and get to a break, because when we return to start our third and final hour, Dick Girardi from betonline.ag, he will join us. We'll talk a ton of Kentucky Derby. Might get a couple college basketball questions in with Dick towards the end, but it's going to be a whole lot of Kentucky Derby, a lot to talk about with the race tomorrow night. Like Bruce Marshall said earlier, there's a chance for rain tomorrow. How much will that affect the Derby tomorrow evening? We'll ask all of those questions to Dick Girardi. He joins us next.
Welcome to Fat Larry's in Bartlett. Come in today for award-winning barbecue and so much more. Catfish, steak burgers, chicken, certified prime Angus beef steaks, along with all the sides, homemade rolls, delicious desserts, beer, and service that is out of this world. Fat Larry's cooks everything made to order just for you. Dine in or order online at fatlarrys.com. We're the best barbecue, southern cooking, and friendly atmosphere in town. Family owned and proud of it. Fat Larry's, conveniently located at 7537 Highway 70, just west of Appling.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. I have been told that my ads are all business and I should share some of my personality. Okay, I love tongue twisters, like the one about the terrific tasting toast by Taste Tester Toaster, or Big Black Bugs, Bleed Blue Blood, and of course Sally and her seashells. Or of course the ever-present I'm a Mother Pheasant Plucker, I Pluck Mother Pheasants. Okay, enough of that. If you want an honest, fair, reasonable roofing, siding, or gutter estimate, call Fiveash Roofing at 367-0050. That's exactly what you'll get. No empty promises, no high-pressure sales tactics, and no fast-talking salesman trying to convince you that today and only today is the best day for you to get a new roof. For the record, the best day to get a new roof is when you're ready for one. Fiveash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
I think a lot about golf, and when I think golf, I think Miramichi. Did you know Miramichi Golf Course offers membership? It's a great way to play more golf for less out of pocket. Their memberships run for $300 a month plus tax, and that includes unlimited rounds and range balls, no extra card fees, priority tee time booking, and discounts in the pro shop. Oh, by the way, there's no initiation fee. Miramichi green fees, they'll allow you to choose the right rate at the right time on the right day for your needs. If morning tee times are more important, you can book up to 14 days ahead of time to reserve your spot. If rate is more important to you, there are discounted evening rates available that you can choose from. Miramichi is now open on Mondays, and you'll find the lowest rate is on Thursday. Sometimes you just need to escape the hustle and bustle of life. Miramichi Golf Course provides just the right place to solve that need. The name Miramichi means place of happy retreat. When you need a quiet, peaceful round of golf, please make your way to Miramichi.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's been busy today over here on 240 getting on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. That seems to have gotten a little bit heavier as you continue on 385 out towards Collierville. Had that earlier crash, 40 East at Hollywood. It's really busy now on 40 East from Sycamore View Road all the way out past Germantown Parkway. Weimer's Jewelry, your diamond engagement ring headquarters. Go by and see them this weekend and shop local at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis with John Harden. Weekdays from 11 to 1. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour brought to you by Jaguar Land Rover Club City. Once again, Brett Northrup and
Say you stand by your man.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios as we start our third and final hour. And joining us now to talk the Kentucky Derby, Dick Girardi from betonline.ag. He joins us now, the racing reporter joining us. Make sure you check out betonline.ag for the most up-to-date odds and props on the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby. Dick, thanks so much for joining us. Well, let's start with the favorite, Journalism. Tell us about this horse. How good of a favorite is he going into tomorrow's Kentucky Derby?
Well, beyond his race record, how could I not love a horse?
It's beautiful.
Right?
Journalism's not dead, Dick, is it?
Right. There we go. And we got journalism and publisher in here. I think newspapers are making a comeback. if that's the exact, to look out. But no, seriously, this is a really good horse. I mean, he's clearly the most accomplished horse in the field, and it's not particularly close. He's so consistent. He's won the 4 in a row. The longer they go, the better he runs. Overcame some significant adversity to win the Santa Anita Derby, and prior to that got a 108 Beyer speed figure in the San Felipe. If he gets anywhere near a 108 figure tomorrow, there's zero chance he's going to lose the race.
So I'm going to get this out of the way early, and I know it really irritates the true horse racing aficionados, turf riders like you, and you're among the most distinguished ever in that field. I'm going to get it out of the way early. Is he the closest thing to a super horse in this race?
Yeah, I don't want to say that yet because we need to see him do it in this circumstance, but he's got that potential. I mean, when you watch him train, you watch him run, you look at him physically, son of the great 2-time Horse of the Year Curlin, there's a lot to be said that it's possible, but, it's you got to do it. I'll say it this way. This is the most confident I've been in a Derby pick since 2018 when I loved Justify. And go back even further to 2014, California Chrome.
Yeah.
Wow.
What about the jock on Journalism, Umberto Rispoli? What do we need to know about him?
So, I mean, look, he's from Italy. He's been in the U.S. for a while. He's more renowned as a turf jockey than a dirt rider who wins on dirt. But Michael McCarthy, the trainer, is a really smart guy, not just in understanding horses, but in tactics. And the tactics is pretty simple with this horse. Get him out maybe into the first turn where he's 5th or 6th in the race. You don't want to get him so far back that he's got to run through traffic. If he's, say, 5th or 6th, coming out of the first turn, say 5, 6 lengths off the lead, I don't think he can lose. And I think that's the key part where the jockeys, if he has to be a little aggressive to get that position, go ahead and do it.
There are so many fun prop bets at BetOnline. As Bryant said, please, everyone, check out BetOnline for the most up-to-date odds and props on the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby. And one of them, kind of the second question that irritates horse racing riders, 4-1 on the yes. Will there be a Triple Crown champion in 2025? Yes is 4-1. No's 1-7.
Yeah, I don't think 4-1's good enough. I mean, we all know how hard it is to win the Triple Crown. As much as I like Journalism, and I really do love him in the race tomorrow, that's asking a whole lot of any horse at 4-1 to win all 3 of them. So I would go, and I'm not a big fan of no, right, because you're laying a huge number to win $1. I'm not a big fan of that either. I will say the prop I like the most is the over-under on the lengths on how much the winner will win by. It's a length and a half. And I'm taking the over. Ooh. If I'm right about Journalism, I don't think it's going to be particularly close.
All right. I was just about to ask you about that prop. So, yeah, I like that.
These are great props.
Oh, man, they're fantastic. They are so good. Before we get to any more props, Dick, I do want to ask you, you mentioned the trainer for Journalism, Michael McCarthy. I saw a story earlier today. McCarthy lives in Southern California, and his neighborhood was a part of the wildfires that took place late last year. I mean, to have to deal with that and also training this horse, I mean, it sounds like a really tough couple of months for him.
No question. I was actually out in Los Angeles Super Bowls weekend, And shockingly, I went to Santa Anita on Sunday. I was out there for basketball, but I went to the track, and I've known Michael for years, and he came over. He didn't have a horse running, but he came over. We hung out for like an hour. And he grew up in the area, and then he went to New York for years. He worked for Todd Fletcher, and he's been back 10 years. So, yeah, he lives in a town named Altadena. That's one of the towns like Pacific Palisades that just got annihilated by the wildfires that happened in early January. And his neighborhood is basically destroyed. There's very few structures still standing. One of them is his house, but they haven't been able to go back. And there's been some terrific stories that written about it. Tim Layton wrote a great piece. My friend Dana O'Neill wrote a great piece on Michael. But yeah, I mean, his family, fortunately for them, his in-laws live out in the area, so he and his wife and his daughter are staying with them. But yeah, think about this. He hasn't been in his own house since early January, and yet he's training the favorite for the Kentucky Derby. And he's an interesting guy. He's very introspective, but deep down, this is really tough. I mean, as he mentioned in one of the stories, the bakery isn't there, the school isn't there, all the things you think of when you live in a neighborhood. And really, when he gets to go back, he doesn't really even know what he's going to go back to. So yeah, it's been a crazy couple of months for sure.
When you were out there, did you see the destruction?
I didn't. I intentionally didn't want to go and be like a voyeur. I just didn't feel comfortable doing it. But yeah, I will say this, Brett. When we were driving, I watched the Super Bowl across the street from Santa Anita. And then when we were driving back downtown to L.A. where we were staying, just north of Pasadena is where Altadena is, and you could see the neighborhood. It's now like what time would it have been? Like 8 o'clock at night, and there was no lights. That was the thing that stood out. I mean, there's just nothing there, and there were several neighborhoods, Pacific Palisades, which is obviously much closer to the Pacific Ocean than Altadena. Yeah, it's just so sad. But yeah, those Santa Ana winds just started blowing the fires all over the place.
Speaking of trainers, he makes his return after a 3-year ban at Churchill Downs that I very much disagreed with. Bob Baffert returns to the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, he does, and I'm glad he's back. And yeah, we've talked about it. I thought the ban was way too long for the offense, and there's been a couple great stories written about that this week too. What Bob did, the horse had an anti-inflammatory in his system, Medina Spirit, and it was rightly disqualified. You can't have it in your system, but it was kind of the horse racing equivalent of a jaywalking / misdemeanor. It wasn't a felony. It wasn't anything like that. But Churchill Downs was just upset because Baffert had a couple of those in the previous year. But yeah, the 3-year thing was crazy. But here's the good news: it's over. And Bob has put it behind him, and now he's back, and he's got a horse in the Derby. And he won one of the stakes races yesterday, so I'm glad to see it back.
He really is a survivor, isn't he?
Nope, you got to be in this game anyway, right? Because there's so much heartbreak in the game in general. But he never could have envisioned anything like this, and there was no reciprocal. None of the other jurisdictions suspended him. It was just Churchill Downs suspending him from their tracks, which obviously include Churchill Downs, which means you couldn't run in the Derby. But again, I think management's over it now, and Bob, I think, is over it. He's just happy to be back and have a shot.
I say it every time he comes up. One year, had him on at a Super Bowl on Radio Row. Maybe either Bob Baffert or Mary Lou Retton, my favorite Radio Row guest ever, that didn't have anything to do with football.
That's great.
I promise you, Dick, I could still be sitting there talking to him. I mean, he was so comfortable, so conversational, and in any slight, he doesn't hang that much on. I mean, he bounces back. He's the bungee cord.
Yeah, no question. And just a little news for everybody. Good Cheer just won the Kentucky Oaks. She's now 7. So a really good 3-year-old filly for Brad Cox.
Yeah. Talking about Bob Baffert, I believe his horse that is in the race, Citizen Bull, is starting in the first gate. I was reading a story earlier today about all the horses, and it was talking about Citizen Bull. Would be a good option here, but because it's starting out of that first gate, that makes it really tough. When you look at the starting gates, which are the better ones? Which ones do you like a horse to start out in?
Yeah, it's going to be a little counterintuitive, but I actually think the 1 hole is perfect for Citizen Bull. It forces them to do what the horse does best. All the horse's good races are when he gets loose in the lead. Now, what's the easiest way to get to the lead? Start closest to the rail and send your horse to the front, right? So you don't have to go around any other horses to get there. So I actually think it's a bit of an advantage. Now, I don't particularly like the horse. I don't think he's gotten much better from 2 to 3. He was the 2-year-old champ last year. But I will say this, if somehow he clears all the other speed horses and he's 2 lengths in front, going down the backstretch after a half a mile, and he's gone like 47 flat, I'm going to say, why didn't I bet Baffert trying to win his 7th Derby? That's for sure.
Another prop. Will there be a post-race inquiry? Yes, 5-2. No, 1-4. Please, no. I don't want to go through that again. It did something to me. I talked about it before we brought you on, Dick.
Yep. Yeah, I'll bet the $4 to win the 1. I have no interest in seeing an inquiry. Just first horse to the finish line and get it over with. I mean, we'll never forget that one 6 years ago. What would it take, a half an hour for them to decide to disqualify maximum security? It's crazy.
Yeah. You know, and your 1,200-pound animals flying around, and you actually, excuse me, accidentally run into them.
Yeah,
exactly.
Dig, it looks like there's a little bit of rain in the forecast tomorrow. How much do you think that will affect the race? And if rain is a factor, what horses does that hurt? Which horses does that help?
So here's what's happened so far. It started to rain maybe about 2 hours ago, and it poured for like 45 minutes. So the Kentucky Oaks was on a sloppy track, but they also ran a race on the turf course, and it was still firm, so it wasn't that much water. So now the question is, how much more is coming tomorrow? The last I saw was there's supposed to be maybe some rain late morning. As long as it's not drenching hours worth, they'll have the track fast by post time. But the forecast in Louisville has changed, 10 times this week, so who knows what finally is going to happen. And the answer to your bigger question is, what horses does it affect one way or another? Frankly, none of these horses have enough experience on sloppy tracks to give you a good answer. So I would just say ignore it and just go about your business. If you like a horse, don't be taken off of it because it's a sloppy track.
Dick Girardi, our guest on our Sissy's Log Cabin guest line. He's with us courtesy of betonline.ag. Again, check out BetOnline for the most up-to-date odds and props on the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby. Fill in the blank for me. The state of horse racing is what?
I would say pretty good right now. I think the fact that this HISA, this new authority that's basically in charge of much of horse racing on a national basis, and now we have uniform drug testing where it used to be just state to state, and I think everybody understands what the penalties are for different things, and it's going to take a while for this to completely shake out. But I think that's very helpful. No longer does it take months to mete out punishment if somebody does something they're not supposed to do. Look, in a perfect world, you'd have an NBA or an NFL with a commissioner but that's not how the sport is. It's run state to state. But at least they do have this authority.
Like college football now, run state to state.
Precisely. That's exactly right. Yep, that's a perfect analogy. But with HISA, it's gotten better. Again, they've had some growing pains, but I think the people in charge of it have the right or want to do the right thing. And I think little by little it's getting better. And you know what's great about it is the big events like the Derby and the Breeders' Cup, they're bigger than they've ever been. People love the big events, and I know I've said this to you guys before, but the bigger issue with the sport is it's an event-driven sport without enough events, right? It's not like NASCAR. It doesn't have something big every weekend, or golf, like the PGA Tour that has an event every weekend. It just doesn't have that, but it has enough that I think the sport at the moment is in pretty good shape.
Was horse racing always your favorite?
Basketball. I grew up with basketball. I didn't really get to horse racing until I got to college. I always tell people I majored in journalism and I allegedly minored in history, but I really minored in poker. And my poker friends took me to the track one day, and I said, "Man, this is awesome." Yeah. And that's how I got interested. I didn't have any background in it at all. And it was really after I got out of college, I just started going as a gambler. And because I was a journalism major, eventually I said, you know what, how cool would it be to be able to write about horse racing, which I was obviously able to do for 4 decades now. And then when I came to Philly at the Philadelphia Daily News, I was there like 2 years. And, of course, as you guys know, college hoops is huge in the city. I said, look, if you ever need anybody to cover college basketball, I can do it. So I got to cover 25 Final Fours, 31 Kentucky Derbies, and the best the seasons were perfect, right? I'd leave the Final Four, the Derby be in a month, and then the Breeders' Cup would in November, and then the college basketball season would start the next week.
Wow.
So it was a great run, and it was, for me, it was a wonderful place to work for 33 years at the Philadelphia Daily News. It was a writer's paper. They valued good writing, and they gave us every chance to do it.
They sure did. Jack Buck once said he had the best job on earth. He could play golf in the morning, go to the horse track in the afternoon, and the baseball park at night.
It's a lot of athletes love the track, especially baseball players, because you're right, they have that time in the afternoon, and announcers. I know a lot of them that I've hung out at the track with through the years.
All right, finish out our tickets. So you like journalism to win, right?
I do. Yep.
A place, show, and a fourth place.
Yeah, Burnham Square, the 9, I think is going to run great. I think he's going to outrun his odds. I really do like him. And you have to include Sovereignty, the 18 for Babot. You can just see he's been prepared to run the race of his life in here. And if you're looking for one long shot, for me it would be the 3 Final Gambit. He comes off a giant race at Turfway Park. The question there is he going to be as successful on a fast dirt track as he was on the Tapeta track? If that's the case, then I think he's got a chance to hit the second.
I like it.
So 3, 8, 9, 18. Okay.
That's it.
I love it. Dick, I want to get a couple college basketball questions in
Sure.
with you before we let you go. We're seeing NIL continuing to grow in the sport, and certainly here in Memphis, we're watching it play out in front of us with one of the biggest transfer portal guys, PJ Haggerty. It sounds like with the news coming out today, sounds like he's going to head to NC State, and it sounds like he could be getting close to the $4 million that he asked for. Where are we as a sport where, NIL is really driving a lot of guys? Are we starting to see kind of that separation from the big schools that have that type of money and then maybe schools like Memphis and further down of schools that just can't pay a guy like PJ Haggerty anywhere near $4 million?
No, it's chaos. It's just not. It's not the sport we love. It's unfortunate when the winners are the ones that have the biggest, the deepest pockets, and it's getting to that point. Look, I'm thrilled the players are getting paid. I thought they should have gotten paid a long time ago. I never liked the fact that one of the players would get a free tattoo, they get suspended for 6 months, and then the coach could go from place to place, and there was no penalties. So I like that part of it, but the NCAA completely blew this over the last decade when they had a chance to regulate it. They kept arguing, well, the players are never going to get paid. Of course, they went 0 for life on lawsuits. And now we have this ultimate free agency. So, yeah, it's becoming a bigger problem. When a school like Memphis, with the incredible basketball tradition and success that it's had, can't even be in the ballpark to keep its own players because they don't have enough money, that tells you about all you need to know. And it's really, really unfortunate for the game.
In all those years covering Philadelphia and college basketball, did you ever think could you have ever imagined Lefty Driesell leaving Maryland to go coach at Villanova?
No, and that's kind of where we are at this moment. And the Big East schools are interesting because they don't have to share money with football, so they have money to throw around, and all of a sudden because they have a nice TV contract from Fox. I don't know what that's going to look like in the future. And Villanova at least has boosters that are willing to throw a lot of money around. Then, that gives them a real opportunity. But, no chance that I would have thought that. But keep in mind, Villanova, obviously, this is the best program in the country the last 5-6 years under Jay Wright. They were it. Winning titles and all that. But, man, they took a gigantic step back when Jay retired. Whether they can recapture that, I have my doubts, even with the money that they have. I just think that the whole landscape of the sport has completely changed in the last 3 years.
Last thing I promised, Dick, and you know we want you back in 2 weeks for Preakness. You said 25 Final Fours you covered, 31 Kentucky Derbies. Give me your favorite of each. Favorite of 25 Final Fours and favorite of 31 Derbies.
Easy. 2004 for the Derby, Smarty Jones, the PA bred. And I knew all the people, right? I knew the owners, their local people, the Chapmans, John Service I'd known forever as a trainer at my hometown track, and Stuart Elliott, who was one of the leading jockeys at the track. And to see a horse, really it's AAA baseball, to win the World Series, right? To see a horse from Parks win, that was very cool. and unquestionably the 2016 Final Four. I was about 20 yards from Chris Jenkins when he lofted the shot for Villanova.
It was good all the way, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And I had that spot, when you're behind and to the right where you can see the trajectory. I knew it was going in. And, of course, I had about 8 seconds to file my column at that point. And I'd already gone all in on Villanova because they had the game won, if you remember. They're up 10 with like 4 minutes to go. And then chaos ensues. And at that point, you're rooting. You're not supposed to be rooting, but trust me, I was rooting for Villanova to win because my column was useless. If they had lost, I was going to have to start all over again.
Yeah, you always root for whatever makes your writing easier when it's all said and done. Dick, as always, thanks so much for joining us. Always a ton of fun. Enjoy the Derby. And like Brett said, we'll definitely want to have you back here in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. Look forward to it, guys.
Thanks, Dick.
Thank you so much. Dick Girardi with us every year. How great is that every year?
A blast.
He is terrific. I'm going to text him in a few minutes when we get to break. I text every guest, and I mean it sincerely. Appreciate their time.
Yep.
And every year I text him back. I think I could talk to him all day.
All day long. I mean, and like you said, he makes whatever you're talking about interesting. Whether it's horse racing, whether it's college basketball, I'm sure he could talk about paint drying on the wall and make it interesting.
He's just fun and interesting. That's right.
He's a fun guy and a really fun guest. So definitely.
Who says journalism's dead? That's his pick.
Oh man, I love it. I love a good journalism pick. I am pro journalism. Let me tell you something.
Right. You got any of those props you like?
I like where he was at with the lengths. I think that's one where, and before he kind of jumped out on that one, I was going to ask him because it feels like if you're just a casual, you just kind of watch the Kentucky Derby and that's it. It feels like you're always, you think of horse racing, you think of photo finishes. But hey, if Dick Girardi's right about journalism, then yeah, I really like that bet a lot.
I like that too. The yes/no bets. The prices are too costly,
Yeah.
and it's not even fun being the no guy.
No. You always want to be the yes, because yes usually associates itself with chaos, and at least I love chaos. So
Will a debut jockey win the Kentucky Derby? Yes, 7-2. No, 1-6. We'll do our picks after the break.
We will, but definitely a lot of really fun prop bets and then just the regular picks. Make sure you go to betonline.ag and check out all the odds. They've got them for the Kentucky Derby tomorrow. Well, before we get to a break here, let me remind you about our 5 o'clock sponsor. It's Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City. Jaguar Bluff City has been the premier Jaguar dealership for the greater Memphis area since 1984, and their talented team is ready to help you find your next perfect vehicle at unbeatable rates. Swing by Jaguar Land Rover Bluff City today and check out the new 2025 models like the 2025 Range Rover Sport, the 2025 Range Rover Velar, and the 2025 Defender. Test drive the Range Rover Sport, where luxury meets performance. It's a perfect mix of style, performance, and versatility, with options ranging from 360 horsepower up to 635. It's also available as a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle with $7,500 federal tax credit when leased with approved credit. Take a look at the Range Rover Velar, powered by mild hybrid technology and enhanced with the latest well-being features and fully connected entertainment system. The Range Rover Velar is the ultimate luxury compact crossover. Purchase yours today and get special 4.4% for 72 months financing available with approved credit. Don't forget about the Defender. Available in multiple models to fit your needs, the Defender is built for the modern explorer, and Jaguar Bluff City is offering special interest rates for 60 and 72 months on various models. Give them a call, 877-259-6169. Go online to jaguarbluffcity.com, but head out there, test drive these vehicles. 6335 Wheel Cove, just off of Quince, for Bluff City Jaguar. Well, let's go ahead and get to another break. When we come back, so many picks to make. We'll do all of that during What's Trending.
retail warehouse where they pass wholesale savings on to you. Jenkins Floors at 2356 Goodman Road in Horn Lake. Also stores in Cleveland, Mississippi and Little Rock. They specialize in flooring and carpeting, tile, plantation shutters, and blinds. Jenkins makes your life easy with a 2-week turnaround. Contractors, builders, or family projects call 662-469-9350 for a free estimate. Owners Timmy and Rebecca Jenkins say hello to Sports 56 fans and look forward to your business.
Looking for sports in all the wrong places? Try the Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. Fun, exciting, friendly, and comfortable. Wall-to-wall TVs, 24 taps for all your beers, including $3 domestic and $5 craft pints on Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 happy hour. Music boomed up Tuesdays, daily specials, and online ordering. Owner's Box Sports Bar and Grill in Lakeland's Town Square. Highway 70. Check Facebook for daily specials and weekend music at the Owner's Box.
Pools, and more pools. Yes, it is pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure is already booking pool installs, so you need to buy now and get on that list. 24-foot pools start at $19.99 install. Liners are starting at $2.99. You're going to need some pool accessories, so they're all up to 20% off. Not quite ready for a pool? That's fine. Get a 5 or 6 person hot tub starting at under $7,000. You can also go for a swim spa or perhaps a cold plunge tub. Those are now $2,000 off. Get patio furniture up to 50% off on select sets. Buy your pool now. Get on that install list. Mention this commercial, and your install is free. It's underlined in the in bold print, so you know it's big. It's pool time at Family Leisure. Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm inviting you over for dinner. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner of scrumptious combinations. Fresh salads, homemade soups, or maybe start with an appetizer, like our baked Dungeness crab dip with manchego cheese, lemon, garlic, and French baguette toast. Drift into one of our fresh seafood dishes, like the caramelized sea scallops with curry beurre blanc, black forbidden rice, and Thai mango salad. Or our ancho honey glazed salmon with creamy black bean puree, avocado pico de gallo, and jalapeno crema. Maybe you're looking for something cozy and comforting, like our Duroc pork chop with apple brandy demi-glaze and blue cheese bacon mashed potatoes. We have something for everyone. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us. I'd sure love to see you.
Congratulations to Napa Cafe, celebrating 27 years of great food and service for you. Napa Cafe.
Listen each and every Sunday morning at 11 to join Ottawa Presbyterian Church for worship. Ottawa is a PCUSA church located in downtown Memphis. Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Trying to finish the paperwork 40 East on that earlier wreck over here near Hollywood. It's been slow over here for at least a couple of hours. Traffic's on the increase even more to the south on 55 down through South Haven as you head on down into DeSoto County. Weimer's Jewelry wants you to know they are your diamond engagement ring headquarters this bridal season, which is just around the corner. So go see them this weekend and shop local at Weimer's Jewelry on Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We're back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you, live and local inside our Family Leisure Studios. We got about 30 minutes left in today's show, and we've got to make a ton of picks during this segment. What's trending? We got to do our Derby picks. We've got to do Showboat Bankroll. We've got to get picks for Cavs Pacers with the series getting started on Sunday. So, Brett, where you want to start?
My faith restored. I would get in my car
man.
now and drive to Louisville.
Easily.
If I could sit with Dick Girardi tomorrow at the Kentucky Derby.
Absolutely. If I could sit with Dick Girardi at the Kentucky Derby, it goes from maybe not being in my top 20 to being like top 5.
I mean, just so much fun and knows his stuff.
Yes, he does.
And that makes it fun. All right, we'll do the easier part, I think, first.
Okay.
The next round, second round, Cleveland against Indiana, group lock Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm going to go with
Everybody
Cleveland
there?
on this one.
Cavaliers.
Yeah, I think Cleveland's easy. I hope Indiana can make it difficult for Cleveland, and I think maybe game one, Darius Garland, we don't know if he'll play or not. If he's out, maybe Pacers can make it tough in game one, maybe even steal one on the road. But I do think ultimately Cavaliers win the series.
And I'm okay if Indiana pulls upset, but
Sure.
But I really like this Cleveland team, and I'm way out there as the only one that thinks
That's right.
Cleveland can beat Oklahoma City. All right, next, I think simplest thing, Showboats getting 4.5. Houston favored 4.5 tomorrow at that game. Showboats shoulda, coulda in the game in Memphis, but they didn't. I'm going to take Houston and lay the 4.5 for a small wager, $50.
Okay, all right, going small.
I'm up 900.
I should probably be doing that, but I'm not. I'm going to take the Showboats in this one. I'm going to take them minus the 4.5. I'll take them for $100. You look, this is the game that they let get away from them. This should have been the first win of the season at home. Now, I know things change. We're further in the season. It's a road game now for the Showboats, but they won on the road last week in a tough environment against a really good Birmingham Stallions team. Now going up against the Houston team. I think they get them here. I think they win outright.
You enter into it up 300.
Okay, all right. Ugh.
Landon,
I'm making.
you are up 450.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'm making big moves with this one. I feel like the Showboats pull this one off as well. Give me the Showboats, and I'm gonna drop 2 stacks.
Okay.
$200.
Right.
I hope y'all hit, and I think it would make for a lot of fun next weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I do.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great. I mean, if you can come back to
A little
the
less
city,
crowded sports scene. I don't think
Yeah.
Redbirds are home next weekend.
I don't think so.
Grizzlies
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, so I mean, if you can come back, back-to-back wins, really
get a good crowd.
got things rolling. Yeah, I think it could be fun. Certainly with what Steve Macy told us yesterday when he joined us about kids under 12 getting in for free, $2 beer,
That's a
$2
great deal.
dogs. I mean, that is a tremendous deal, and so hopefully people take advantage of that next week.
All right, Derby, who wants to be first?
I'll go first.
Okay, wow,
I said
jump
it
right at it.
earlier.
Brett
that
will
I
go
was,
first.
I was very comfortable,
Brian.
or I was very confident in my Derby picks this year. So I will start, and I will start with my winner. And as a man that has a proud journalism degree at his house, how could I not pick anybody other than journalism as my win?
Big J.
I mean, like you said, Brett, journalism ain't dead. It's going to be restored
live and well.
tomorrow with a big win. So I will take journalism.
What a great
as my
name with
win.
the jock, too.
It's
Umberto
great.
Rispolo
man,
in the irons.
That is a jockey right there. I mean, if you line up a list of names, that's the one I point out that's the jockey. All right, for my place, I'm going to go with publisher here. Now think about it.
Look at you.
Think about it, Brett. Not only does that kind of go hand in hand with the journalism, but we had an author on the show earlier this week.
Sure
Books
did.
get published. They need a publisher. I think we had a good omen on the show earlier this week. I think publisher has a great day at the Kentucky Derby.
Do you have a number for publisher?
I can find you one. Let's see.
13.
13.
There you
No. I have 12, but maybe it is 13. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll look it
Yeah,
up.
we gotta
Publisher's
figure it out.
13.
Yeah. It's
12 is
13.
East Avenue.
Okay, so
We'll go with 13.
my
and
list
your
is
show?
off. And my show, Chunk of Gold, because something's got to go right with the name Chunk of Gold. So I will take Chunk of Gold.
And number for you?
And then
19.
19 for Chunk
Wow.
of Gold.
And fourth?
And then my fourth, Sandman. What a cool name. Gotta get Sandman.
I love Sandman. Good friend of mine that's been to a Kentucky Derby loves Sandman.
Okay,
He's
I
the
love
17, right?
Sure.
Correct. 17.
So you're 8, 13, 17, 19.
Lock it in.
Boy, see what that wins. All right, Landon, you.
All right, my winner is going to be 13, Publisher. I'm going to go with Publisher for my win. My, what is it, show?
Yep.
Place.
Show?
No, place. Sorry.
Yeah, place. Sorry. For my place, I'm actually going the opposite of Bryant over there. It's going to be journalism.
Okay.
Journalism will
Flip-flop. Love it.
be there. Third place, I'm
Show?
going to go with Citizen Bull.
All right.
Give me Citizen
Like that.
Bull. That's number 1.
Yeah.
And then
He starts on the rail.
Yeah, he sure does.
And then my number 4. Give me Sandman.
All right, Sandman. Let's go.
Look at y'all. I like it. Sandman the 17. So 1, 8, 13, 17.
All right.
See what that gets you. Might get you a lot.
Well,
Usually can be some wild tickets
Sure
in
can
this,
be.
with this,
Sure can
this
be.
many. I'm going to go with Sovereignty, and I was with Sovereignty before Dick Girardi even mentioned him as the show. So I'm going to go Sovereignty winning.
Okay.
Manuel Franco, the jock.
Love that.
Second, the place, Sandman, Jose Ortiz, the 17. And Show, Barnum Square, the 9. And fourth, Journalism. Feels like you have to have him in some ticket form. So 8, 9, 17, 18.
I love it. Let's get after it.
Good odds on those horses there, Brett.
Brian, on your app, are you going to have anything?
No, because I would have to be outside of Tennessee to do it, and I am not
Is that
going to
right?
travel outside of Tennessee to do that. So I will probably not have anything. I think that's still how it is. How it's been for the last couple of years. So I
For
think,
a parimutuel?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I do not think I will be leaving the state of Tennessee to place bets on the Kentucky Derby. I might. I
I hope
myself
we
every
have
year
a
I'm
horse
gonna.
that can go for the Triple Crown. And
Yeah.
it sounds like, according to Dick Girardi, that journalism's that.
Yeah, I mean, the way he talked about journalism, from the start of the conversation with him, that is the best I've heard someone talk about a horse and maybe the prospect of Triple Crown. So I hope so. I mean, that would be fun. I remember, one of those Triple Crowns. I don't know if they ultimately won the Triple Crown or if they had 2 legs down and didn't get the third one. But I remember, being probably in middle school playing travel baseball and being at like an Applebee's in Arkansas, and everyone just stopped what they're doing and watched the horse race on television because of the opportunity to have the Triple Crown. So no, I mean it always makes it a lot more fun and interesting, and so hopefully he can be that in journalism.
All right, so back to bucket lists. I do not have many college basketball things on my top 10 list. I've been lucky that I've got to mark off probably a lot of them. They would have been to a Final Four and various rounds and things like that. But as far as buildings, arenas, a lot of people have Pauley Pavilion on it. A lot would have Fog Allen, Rupp, Cameron.
The Cathedral.
I don't. A college basketball, I don't have it in the top 10, but maybe 11.
Okay.
I would have a year inside just Philly college basketball.
Oh, man.
And Dick Girardi got to live it and ride it.
Oh, man. Yeah, I would love that kind of almost like Hard Knocks-esque, like following, the
Could
Big
squeeze
Five.
in a little Drexel in there too, couldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely could. No,
Help me would the geography count for Lafayette a little bit in there?
Maybe. I don't.
Close?
I think they're close.
Bucknell?
Yeah.
Close?
Yeah. I
may need some geography.
Yeah,
but,
look, I
but
ain't-
just in we know what definitely would be there.
Oh yeah, and it's it is really really good, and I believe now that, and I just looked it up to make sure now, because and Brett, it's a very it's not something I'm happy about, but they've now done the Big Five very big, and now they're playing it in arenas now up in Philadelphia.
Not its Palestra. I don't like that.
No, I don't like that either. And they have added Drexel. Drexel, at least last year, was a part of the Big Five play and different stuff like that. So it was the Big Six, but named the Big Five. So, yes, Drexel would certainly be in that conversation.
Would be fun.
Oh no, that would definitely be.
But I want
up
the
there for me.
Palestra involved.
Yeah, no, I don't. I want to be at the Cathedral. I don't want to be at just
I want to be at
arena.
Jim's.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I would definitely sign me up for a year. I've got a handful of college basketball arenas, but I think
What's number one?
Probably the Palestra.
Is it?
Yeah, it's probably number one. Just the history.
A college game at the Garden do anything for you?
If it's St. John's, yeah. I don't want to go to just one of those showcase classic games in the Garden, but last year St. John's really going, then that would be fun.
Xavier, Cincinnati do anything for you?
It's probably not top 10, but it'd be somewhere in there. I'll tell you though, Brad, I think you'd be surprised. Final Four probably wouldn't be in my top 5. or going to a national championship one, because now that you're playing in these, massive, football stadiums, and I mean, just almost just better to watch it on television.
A lot of people say that, but then to be there for one shining moment.
That is true. That is true. Now, if you're telling me I can get a good seat there and it'd be like a view I would have in any arena, then I would say sure, absolutely. But what I
North
would
Carolina do anything for you?
Absolutely. I mean, that's
if you could only go once, Chapel Hill or Durham.
Oh, I would go Durham. I would experience the craziness, if you will. And as you know, Brett, I'm a Duke fan, so I mean, I just
I did that.
It's gotta be Durham. So no, yeah.
What's your number one baseball thing?
Well, I mean, I think World Series.
World Series?
It's certainly there. But if we're just talking stadium,
A Cardinal Yankee World Series, right?
Brett, I mean, I know that's number one for you. I mean, that's got to be up there. But I tell you all the time, and it's one that I need to make happen. One of my best friends lives in Dallas. I want to go to Globe Life. I mean, I think that ballpark is so cool. And so that's probably, I know it's newer, and it doesn't have history, but that's probably one that I would love to go to.
We all think if we lived 20 minutes from Globe Life, we wouldn't go 81 times.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, there was a time I thought, if I lived within 2 hours of St. Louis, I'd go there. No, you wouldn't.
No, absolutely not.
But if I lived 20 minutes from Globe Life, you could count me for about 25 or 30 times a year.
Yeah, I'd go probably a quarter or third. I'd go a lot.
It's great.
No, it looks really good. I need to check that. Like I said, I always like bring it up to my buddy. I'm like, yeah, we should make a weekend out of it and go see a Rangers game. He's like, yeah, sure. And then
anything in golf?
Yeah, I mean Masters certainly.
That's at a lot of top of the list.
Oh yeah, it's got to be. I mean, it's
You're
one
not
of those.
wrong.
It's one of those.
It's
events.
good.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think if you're a sports fan, I think the Masters got to be in there for you.
There was two things that I had on the list. If I could just do them once, if I could just go once, that'd be enough, and I'd mark it off, and I've done it. The Masters and the Rose Bowl. Now I've only done the Rose Bowl game one time, but I've done the Masters 6 times for tournament play. I would go to both every single year if I could.
Absolutely. It's that good.
And I just wanted to go once.
Just once. But hey, I think if you had just gone once, I know you said Rose Bowl you've only been once. I think if you had only been to one Masters, you'd be like, yeah, I'm just glad I got to go once,
I got a friend of mine that I've talked so much to him about. He said, I've got to go to a Rose Bowl game with you.
Oh yeah. You are to him what Dick Girardi is to you for the Kentucky Derby. He's got to go with you to make it special. But no, it's gonna be fun tomorrow. Kentucky Derby. I mean, tomorrow is a good sports day with Kentucky Derby, the baseball.
I'll stop and follow from 4:30 on.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Race about 6 o'clock.
Yeah, no, I will definitely flip it over. I probably won't be flipping over that early, but I will be flipping over closer to the start time, and I'll be sitting there and
I know you've never had a drop alcohol. The big drink there.
The julep.
The mint julep. I promise you, battery acid is better.
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound
good.
You
put a mint garnish in coal oil, and it's just as good.
Now I do love mint, but I think everything else would ruin.
It gets lost with other stuff. Trust me.
Now Mun and I have this argument mainly around Christmas time every year. Like I want peppermint, and I want it so strong I don't have to brush my teeth in the morning. She's complete opposite. She just wants like a little hint of mint in there, peppermint. But me, I want it to knock me over how strong it is.
And there's nobody, except for this weekend, nobody 6 weeks ago goes out to a bar and orders a mint julep.
Let me get a mint julep over here. No,
nobody.
But
nobody
tomorrow, everybody will be drinking it for whatever reason. But
that's part of the
that
festive
is tradition. That is what makes it fun. Well, let's go ahead and get to our final break of the day. And when we return, we'll wrap up today's show. We'll wrap up this week with Crunch Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to Fat Larry's in Bartlett. Come in today for award-winning barbecue and so much more. Catfish, steak burgers, chicken, certified prime Angus beef steaks, along with all the sides, homemade rolls, delicious desserts, beer, and service that is out of this world. Fat Larry's cooks everything made to order just for you. Dine in or order online at fatlarrys.com. For the best barbecue, southern cooking, and friendly atmosphere in town. Family owned and proud of it. Fat Larry's, conveniently located at 7537 Highway 70, just west of Appling.
Memphis Public Links has so much going on right now. Audubon is right around the fairway. Wait until you see when this thing is a finished product. Fox Meadows is in great shape. The links at Pine Hill is now a masterpiece of a place to play, as are really all the other Memphis public golf courses. Galloway is playing like a championship course. They just finished the 75th year of the OPO, and Overton Park is now talked about, and that layout all across the state. And by the way, folks, it's so easy to make a tee time. The hard part is getting your buddies to pick their time. You go online to memphispubliclinks.com, select your course, then grab your tee time. Simple, easy, and incredibly convenient. Also, on the website is a schedule of upcoming events. There you'll find something that will interest you. Again, if you want to book a tee time or find out more about tournaments or other events at any of the great Memphis public golf courses, go online to memphispubliclinks.com.
Spring is in the air, and it's the perfect time to grill, chill, and save with Choates. Install a new generator, tankless water heater, or Carrier HVAC system, and you'll get your choice of a free Green Egg Grill or 36 months no-interest financing. Stay powered during storms, enjoy endless hot water, and slash your cooling costs this summer with a high-efficiency Carrier system, and grill some slow-smoke barbecue on us. But hurry, this special ends soon. And if you're dealing with plumbing or electrical problems, Choates is here for you too. Give us a try and take $60 off your repair. Leaky faucet, clogged drain, broken outlet, lights flickering? Call Choates and save $60 on your plumbing or electrical repair service. Call 347-8086 or visit ChoatesHVAC.com today. And remember, Choates, let our family serve your family.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up. I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code YEAR to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right through bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code YEAR for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
This is pretty cool, and we're just getting started, so
spanning the globe.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is for all the biggest crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, high school.
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
Well, Brett, what I learned today is that Ian Shefflin, who a lot of people might know the name, made an announcement today. The Clemson forward, who averaged 12.4 points, 9.4 rebounds per game last season, announced earlier today that he would be continuing his athletic career at Clemson, but not on the hardwood, on the gridiron. Ian Shefflin is going to join the Clemson football team as a tight end. So
Dabo doesn't need any portal.
No, he's just going to go and take from the other teams on campus.
What if Shefflin's going to be on the Roy bus, the rest of y'all bus at Clemson?
What a weird story. I saw this earlier, and I was like, this got to be like a joke. Like, is it April 1st?
We saw a lot of him last year.
Oh, we
Regular season
did.
game with the Tigers, the NCAA tournament here.
Yeah, no, we definitely did. He's good, great player. I don't know what he will be as a football player, but he was a great basketball player.
That was an interesting story today.
Ooh,
what
man.
I learned, Washington Huskies with their spring game tonight.
Yeah.
UCLA and Louisiana, the Raging Cajuns tomorrow, and that's it. And that's it for a dying rite of spring as well.
Yeah,
I think you'll see the end of any spring games at most places. And maybe even this year, if they can get them to approve it, you might see something resembling OTAs at some places with fans involved.
I think we're not far from that.
Old calendar's dead.
It absolutely is. But I want a complete breakdown of the Louisiana spring game Monday afternoon.
Go ahead.
I need everything on Louisiana spring game. What I could have done without today, it's got to be the news that I think it was my top story of the day just a couple hours ago, but Greg Popovich stepping down as the Spurs head coach to become team president. Look, we knew we were getting close. Even a couple years ago, we knew we were getting close to Greg Popovich announcing his retirement. But I just hate that it came this way, that it came because of his stroke and because of his health. You wanted to see him leave and, just say, hey, I'm done with basketball and I'm good. But it is unfortunate that it had to happen because of these medical incidents.
I could have done without this. John Hollinger, an absolute nothing, has weighed in at the failing Athletic with a big piece on the Grizzlies. They spent money and had him come here. If you read it?
I have not read it, no.
To write, and I mostly agree, and dang, I have to agree with him, but the Grizzlies are in a mess.
Wow. Yeah. They had to send someone here to
what a
write
take.
that? Yeah, wow. Huh. I think he could have stayed wherever he lives. And
Here's what wasn't written by John Hollinger,
What's
unlike
that?
me.
Okay.
He had a role in all this.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
And his good buddies, Wexler and
point.
Kleiman, had a good role in it, too.
That is a very, very good point. I'll have to read that this weekend. Where are you beaming tonight?
Churchill Downs for the
yeah.
weekend. One of the Mount Rushmore, I think, of arenas. One for me is Augusta National, 2, the Rose Bowl Stadium, 3, Churchill Downs, and number 4 for me, Tiger Stadium, Baton Rouge.
Yeah, oh man, that's really good. Yeah, beam me tonight to Game 6 between Rockets and Warriors, and then beam me tomorrow night to Game 7 between Denver and the Clippers. I think both these games are going to be a lot of fun. The Warriors have had so much success in this series. Now back at home, feels like that success will continue tonight. But tomorrow night, Denver and the Clippers, what happens in that one should be a lot of fun.
I'm going to take you in this weekend and enjoy it. All the baseball, the playoffs in the NBA, like you just mentioned, the Kentucky Derby, hockey playoffs, showboats,
Man, a lot of good
college
stuff.
baseball. Arkansas put it on Texas last night and enjoyed doing it.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to run rule them.
Well, it got close, but there are some really good series in the SEC. I know Ole Miss and Oklahoma get started here in about 30 minutes. So, yeah, it's going to be a really fun weekend in the SEC.
At Dale Mitchell Stadium. Dale Mitchell, famous for
baseball.
being the last striking out against Don Larson in his perfect game in the World Series.
Really? Wow. All right. Well, he could be known for better things.
For something, though,
I
don't
guess
you?
So.
You got a stadium out of it.
That's true. That is a great point. I guess if you're going to get a stadium out of it, then it's all good. But it is going to be a really fun weekend with all of the action. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you again Monday afternoon.